Here lies the grave of the 2024 Toronto FC. After 3 straight disappointing seasons, we thought that they might finally have figured it out as they stood by their highly paid Italian imports. However, Insigne failed to produce again, with each goal he scored costing the team $2.2 million. Victories came few and far between, and between a bad home record and even worse on the road. Even then, we stood a chance to go into the playoffs with 2 games at home. A 4-1 loss to the New York Red Bulls and a 1-0 loss to Messi and the Miami later, the team finished with an abysmal 19 losses and a minus 21 goal differential. Not good enough is the understatement of the century here. Why can't they figure it out? Why must this team be doomed for prolonged periods of misery? And when can they be fixed? I'm sorry, folks. I do not have the answers. Hello and welcome to The House That Happens, recorded live at Chewy's Bar and Grill in Etobicoke, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke, voted 4 times the best dive bar in all the GTA. And you know it's number 1 in our hearts, rebuilding and opening soon. Hi, I'm Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name is Cruz. Don't we have a moment of silence for that?
No, fuck that.
Okay, then we're good. So we're pretty well done with the whole Toronto FC up for a while, right?
Oh, yeah.
Until they come back out and see what other...
Or unless there's some major news, of course.
Oh, yeah, well, they're going to sign somebody. Like, I don't know who, but somebody that's playing over there probably...
Do you know Richie Larea counts as one of their import slots or whatever, their designated slots? I think it's because of his salary, but it's a little bit weird having a Canadian in that spot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. And he's doing okay overseas, isn't he?
What do you mean? He plays with TFC.
Oh, TFC?
Larea. Richie Larea. He's a Canadian national, too.
I was thinking of the Lawler guy. Some guy named Lawler that plays overseas. I thought they had his name on him. Anyways, I'll look the guys up. Something came up, and there's a couple guys in a couple leagues that are the same that are in between. You know what I mean? Like, they're just past their prime kind of bullshit. Don't take them, Toronto FC. Stay with the Canadian guy. Thanks. You informed me. Thank you very much.
Or dump Insigne.
Oh, that's all of the above.
I think he's got 1 year left in his contract, but we know in soccer, like, you could just sell it and set it and forget it.
Well, no, the bottom line is, and we've been saying it for a long time, Toronto FC got money. They're one of the, if not the richest franchise, one of the richest franchises in the league, and they end up being just like a lot of other things going on in Toronto right now, but I digress. How's that sound?
What do you mean? It's actually pretty positive in Toronto right now, I'd say.
Oh, yeah, except we'll get to that. Toronto Maple Leaf report. We'll get to that. In any
Argos
event,
too?
Oh, we're going to get to that. That's where we'll get to next. But anyway, do you have any shout-outs?
Absolutely. First of all, it's a Thanksgiving weekend here, so...
Oh, happy Thanksgiving from The House That Happens.
Happy gobble gobble, happy Turkey Day.
Yes.
Stay safe.
Be good.
Be good.
Use your Uber.
Yeah, exactly.
Use your Uber, okay? That's all we're asking for. Eat as much as you want, watch a lot of football, and give somebody a hug.
I'll also be watching a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
Oh,
one of the
that's
underrated specials.
That's a traditional thing here, and thanks for I like the Snoopy things that come by. My favorite one I've seen all week is when it said, pick one, house, what is it, house
better play, and he's looking at the doghouse.
Yeah, and he's like, what 3?
Yeah.
He's got to check one of them, and it's all 3. That's pretty cool, because Snoopy's the coolest at The House That Happens.
Joe Cool.
Very Joe Cool. In any event, I will do the first shout-out just to get it out of the way, because it's going to be the last thing we talk about TFC in Toronto. Huge shout-out to Messi for coming to Toronto and playing 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's huge, you know what I mean? And my take on the matter was, someone said to Messi, it's only a 3-hour flight. You can take the private bird if you want. It's Toronto. It's one of the biggest markets in North America, and it's a world-class city. You can market here. Messi, come on up. Place went crazy. Everything was good. I'd like to find out who the parent was to let the kid run on the field, though, and Messi was cool about it because it was only a little kid. And thanks to the 300-pound guard that was boogieing across the field, that guy should get a huge shout-out. Nothing bad happened, but that's bad parenting.
Yeah, it's messed up.
It's messed up.
That's really messed up.
I mean, and Messi was smiling. I guess he had no problem with it.
Well, I mean, he's seen that in Europe, 300 times before. So.
Exactly, but it's in context what it is. But I just want to give him a huge shout out that he respected the Toronto market. That's the big thing.
Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed. Shout out to the haters online because I went to go see Joker 2 last night, and this movie's getting shit on. I thought it was fantastic.
That was going to be my question to say you have an answer to. How was the movie?
Yeah, me and Radhika both thought it was great.
Really?
Had a little bit of a slow opening, but once it got going, it was fantastic.
I heard the ending was cool, right?
The ending was great. I did not see that coming.
Oh, well, that's what I heard. Remember when I told you
Yeah,
on camera,
yeah.
the only thing I'd heard is that, and I don't want that. Let's not be spoilers.
No, I'm not a spoiler guy at all.
But I'm glad to hear that because Mr. Milani is much more of a movie aficionado than I am. At putting that in there, and all the things I've heard about it might get my ass out to see a movie. I mean, I was telling you the other day, the last movie.
You've seen the first one, right?
No.
Oh, well, you got to watch the first one
Well, I'm
first.
going to do that now. I keep seeing it up on the screen all the time. If I can get away from watching sports and music, then perhaps maybe I'll take time to watch a movie.
Yeah. Like the first one, it's really about how the system lets people down that need the help the most.
Yes.
And then the second one is more about the sensationalism of serial killers.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I think the reason that I don't watch that kind of stuff is I got a wife that watches every drama where someone gets killed.
But this is like a comic book thing, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. I can dig it because I was telling you, the last movie I watched is one of my favorite movie cartoons, which is, what is the Prince of Thieves? Robin Hood?
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
The Prince of Thieves, yeah, with Mr. Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman. It's the last movie I watched, people, and I only watched it because I didn't have any cartoons on.
And they actually do a little bit of, they reference the Looney Tunes cartoons a lot in Joker 2, which is very cool.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that. That's more incentive to do as such. Isn't Bugs Bunny having a birthday soon? I know Snoopy did, but I just seen something about Bugs Bunny.
I'm not sure.
We'll have to check it out.
Well, his birthday comes once a year, so.
Okay, we'll figure it out then.
I feel like with these cartoon characters, really just the big anniversaries. But either way, shout out to Rafa Nadal. He is retiring at the end of the year.
The greatest clay court?
Well, he's also considered this. He beat the king of grass on grass at Wimbledon.
Once.
Well, Federer never beat him on clay, did he?
No, that's the way it is. So you're going to say that your argument, you would put Nadal higher on the Mount Rushmore than Federer?
No, well, I'm saying that he deserves a lot more credit than you give him.
I think he's a great player. He's top 5 all time for sure.
Top 3, come on.
Okay, if that's the way we're going to look at it. Why? Because he's won 1,000 freaking French Opens?
And he's doubled up at least, he's gotten at least 2 of every other major.
Okay, he's a great player. He's a great player.
He's got 3-4 U.S. Opens too, which is arguably the hardest one to win.
Agreed. And I will look at it this way. When he came into the thing, because I seen him from the day that he started, when he was the saucy Spaniard, Alcaraz, doubled down on that, okay? So sometimes he was a little bit hard to take, but winning the French Open when he was 17, was it? 17 people, that's...
They just never stopped.
And never stopped. What, he won 11 times? Because the big thing was Jorn Borg had 7. And I remember Borg retired early. Because I don't know why Jorn Borg, there's a million reasons why he retired early.
Right.
But anyways, when he had the 7 French Open titles, a lot of people said, will that ever be touched in our lifetime? There's Nadal. Give him his props. And I like the way that he changed his approach to the game in the last few years when I guess he's seen Father Time staring him in the face. So great career, great player. I don't want to be sounding like I'm the Nadal negative.
Also has the career Golden Slam with the Olympic gold medal.
Yes, he does.
So.
Yeah, that's cool too. Yeah.
Do you have any shout-outs?
Not really.
Okay,
no.
I'll keep going then.
Yes.
Shout out Danny Green announcing his retirement. He was an
yes.
NBA champion with the Toronto Raptors, of course.
Yep.
Starting shooting guard.
I hope that I see him more on TV. He's good.
He is good on TV.
He's good on TV, so he's one of the guys, because sometimes they always put these guys up there on TV and you see them disappear quickly because they're not good. You know what I mean? And
oh my God, when they had, what's his name on Monday Night Football? He was the tight end for Dallas.
Oh, he was the worst. Witten.
Witten.
Remember that? But every Dallas Cowboy seems to get a shot. And some of them are good. Look, Troy Aikman, one of the best. Who's the other guy that played with Aikman back in the day? He's not Romo. There's Aikman, Romo, and I can't remember his name.
Irvin?
No, but he's got taken off for other reasons. But for something I don't know. And I miss Michael Irvin.
He was good.
No, he was. I think he was a tight end back in the day with Dallas.
Oh, I don't know.
We'll think of him along the way. If anybody knows, just shout out, give us a hand. You'll know him. He was one of the lead guys like Greg Olson when he came in, but he moved down because the pecking order got changed. Just like Dan Fouts was one of the guys back in the day, and now he just does San Diego or whatever, and he's a great guy. I guess it's the guy of the moment. so to speak. But anyway, Danny Green, let's not get off subject here. Hope to see you on TV.
Yep. Shout out Formula One, the U.S. Grand Prix, finally a week away.
In Texas.
Yeah, Austin, Texas, the capital, after what felt like a half a year of a wait. And also, Michael Andretti is stepping away from his leadership role at Andretti Global, which looks like it's going to improve their F1 chances.
You've been saying that for years.
What?
About Michael Andretti, get out of the way and maybe they'll get in.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Michael, I'm not saying that Mr. Milani's not a fan of yours, but the politics of getting a car in there sometimes impedes your ability for other people to want you in the situation.
Yeah, he had trouble getting support to, I guess, open expansion team. I mean, the head of the FIA was telling him, like, don't try and go for an expansion team. Like, buy another team if you want to get in.
Exactly.
And, like, he just refuses to do it. I mean, although there could be opportunities with Alpine and Red Bull selling off their second team, I think that's still a very real possibility.
Oh, yeah, I don't think he's going away.
No.
No, I don't think he's going away.
But he's just going to step into the background of as it were.
Yeah, get out of the limelight, get his eyes off him, so to speak.
But him and, I guess, Cadillac, they still want to work together for an F1 team, which I think, I don't know, GM doing it under Cadillac, I think, is a weird decision, but that's neither here nor there.
I like the sound that it's just a Cadillac, so we can start from there.
Well, I mean, when you think
Mercedes.
Cadillac, you don't think racing, you think like luxury cars, right?
Exactly. So I
don't know. I thought they would have done it under Chevy, but either way.
I want you to do that other shout out about the guy taking over. You're gonna is that the shout out? The Red Bull guy that's taking over.
Taking over what?
He's going to be taking
over.
Oh,
no, I'm saving that. I'm saving that.
Okay, sorry. Don't want to step on your toes.
No.
Okay.
Don't worry. And then lastly, a shout out to the Humber Hawks. Soccer team looking good. Men's soccer team looking like could be another national championship year. Men's rugby looking like they could get their first gold medal in a long time too.
Sometime we're going to have someone from the Humber Hawks team or something, or you should do an on-air interview or something that we could bring to the house. Just let everyone know how much we're supporting the Humber Hawks. Good move on you, though. All that broadcasting it brings you to the table. And everyone should know that Mr. Milani
next Saturday playoffs for soccer.
Production, color, broadcasting. The man is you get a jacket of all colors, so to speak, correct?
I try.
Okay, that's what we're gonna get to already.
All right, I think that does it for shout-outs.
Yeah, I can't think of any because you know what? I had so much fun doing the show on Wednesday with your brother. Big shout-out to your brother for
he was great.
Yes, it was on the hockey thing. I've only listened to half the show, but he's been doing good, and he'll be coming back some point during the season. Just in the next few weeks, we'll have Mr. Pick back about our mid-season, what's going on in the NFL, but we'll talk about that later.
Nope. So we'll turn it over to our favorite team in Double Blue, the Toronto Argonauts, who got the surprise win on the road in Winnipeg, 14-10 last night. Chad Kelly, another solid outing for him.
Argos.
203 passing yards, a passing touchdown, and 33 yards on the ground, no interception.
Okay, so I'm going to take it one step further. There was I watched the whole game for the first time in a long time, and I now agree that Kelly is the best quarterback in the CFL. Let's just cut to the chase on that.
Yeah.
He did what he had to win. Winnipeg's defense was ferocious, but there was a couple things during the game that were huge, and we've been picking on the Argo defense all year. When are you guys going to show up? Where's your secondary? Blah, blah, blah. Well, the keys to the game to me were the goal line stand, because they had a goal line stand, which was huge, and Winnipeg take the lead. But the bigger thing is when they
went 3 and out?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that goal line stand, it was great. But not only that, which is you never think about it, but it was the end of the first half. Winnipeg was driving to get at least a field goal, and the Argos had back-to-back sacks to end the half. And I said, "Ooh, that's a good thing." But the game was tight. Nobody could run. The one guy on, I think his name's Polk or whatever, the guy on Winnipeg, he had 100 and some yards receiving. He looked pretty good. He didn't get a touchdown, but he made some huge plays to get Winnipeg in position, and it was the classic bend but don't break defense. And the Winnipeg defense was just great. It was just that freaking a lot of Kelly's guile is what got him through last night. Like a couple of broken plays, using his legs, shit like that. It was a good game. It was very entertaining. Another thing that old men liked, the score was 14-11. I thought it was a very good game. Mom would say, well, it was 42-38. Wow. No. Sometimes the intensity of game gets ramped up because the defenses are that excellent. I'm not saying the Argos defense is excellent yet, people, but last night they came up with the plays I thought that won the game.
And they leapfrogged Ottawa last night.
Huge.
And Ottawa's they got a tough matchup this, I guess Thanksgiving Monday. They're in Montreal, 1 p.m. start. They lose that game, then Toronto's going to stay ahead of them. Plus, Toronto gets Ottawa at home next weekend.
There you go. So either way, they should be good, which is a great juxtaposition. And about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, we were talking about the last time we mentioned them, that other team that plays at BMO Field, and the Argos. They were both sitting in, not precarious, but, situations where we're going, come on, guys, what do you got?
Yeah.
And the Argos, here we are in Shoeys. A huge sponsor, and aren't you getting a little bit comfy in here now, seeing all the wires on the ground? And
I could just curl up with them.
I'm going to say, I think the Wi-Fi is back on here.
It is not.
It is not. No. Okay. Anyways, besides that, people, a place that is a huge supporter of the Argos is getting comfortable in its shambled-looking state as we speak right now. So
absolutely. Anything else for the Argos?
No, but I think that the Alouettes will be the number 1 seed in all this. I don't know how the West is going to end because it's too close, but it should be decided by this weekend. Winnipeg is probably one of if right now, if anyone was going to say it.
They're number 1 in the West.
That's what I'm saying. It could be Winnipeg and Montreal would be the outside chances because they're at the top and they've been the most consistent. But the Argos are coming down the track on the outside in that kind of race. And remember last year when the Argos were sitting pretty and Montreal came to town and whoops, why can't we do the same this year?
And Toronto broke an 8-game winning streak to the Blue Bombers.
Even better.
You know who their last loss was to?
Who?
The Argos.
Wow. Here we go. Go Argos!
Go Double Blue.
Yes. And you know what? The one game they were playing with those dark blue uniforms.
The throwbacks?
Why don't they wear those all the time? That looks like Argos to me. I'm going to say one more time. Argos, go back to that cool double blue. Even if it's that. I like the white on the bottom, blue on the top. But that double blue. Yeah, Argos. It's Toronto. Isn't this a city of blue? With a dash of purple.
And red.
Yes. Well, that's Canadian.
So Toronto goes into Ottawa, or they play Ottawa at home, I should say, next weekend, and they finish up the season in Edmonton. Then playoff time.
Well, you should have the next 2 wins. That's what I'm saying.
Even if they
beat Ottawa.
If they beat Ottawa and Ottawa loses to Montreal on Monday, they lock up the number 2 seed and they lock up a home playoff spot.
That's, good for the BMO crowd. Go
exactly.
Argos.
I would love to go to that game if they end up having it there.
Are you listening, Serge?
We'll move this along to our European soccer report, where, first of all, shout out to Iniesta retiring at 40, the Spanish national. Was part of that amazing run of the 2 Euros and the World Cup sandwiched in between. Has won multiple titles and awards and cups and Champions Leagues for Barcelona as well.
He's going to get his name on one of those arenas, right? His name will go up on the wall, maybe? You know how they do here when they put, we're doing Vince Carter? Will he be one of those guys that gets his name up?
Absolutely. He's one of the greatest midfielders of all time.
Yeah, I know the guy. Yeah, I remember him there. That's a nice thing to have, though, that little troika.
Sure.
I'd love that. Continue.
And then here's the news that you want to get to. Jurgen Klopp, the former manager of Liverpool, named the head of global soccer at Red Bull. Yeah. This is a role that I don't even think anyone knew existed. He probably didn't even know it existed until it was offered to him. But just for, I guess, the facts, Red Bull owns 4 professional teams, including RB Leipzig in Germany, who's actually tied for the top of the Bundesliga. Of course, New York Red Bulls. RB, there's an Austrian team that they own too, and I believe they own one in South America as well. Plus, they have all sorts of other soccer programs as well. So this is a unique position. I mean, Jurgen Klopp, one of the best soccer minds out there. So this could be very interesting.
Very. I mean, to have that much control over that much soccer in that many leagues. Who is this guy? Like I was saying to you, because we're so I was saying when we were talking off air about the fact that North America is not the only place in the world where shit's going on. And I'm saying if this was done over here in North America, that would be like if you're...
Front page news.
Front page news. Like, this is massive. Congratulations to the guy with the role. I don't know what like you say, he's a great soccer mind, but... And how old is he?
I don't know. He can't be that old.
No, I think he's around 50, isn't he? Yeah, but congratulations to him. And in precedent-setting role in a situation in sports. Wow.
Yeah, and of course it's a company like Red Bull offering a crazy position like this. RB Salzburg, that's the one in Austria I was thinking of. Either way, we'll move on to some of the highlights of the week. Milan failed to convert 2 penalties at a 2-1 loss at Fiorentina. They didn't put their best goal scorer, American Christian Pulisic, in for either of them. The manager admitted, maybe we should have put him in for those.
After now.
Yeah, and Captain Teo Hernandez missed one of the penalties, and he was given a red card after the game for protesting with the ref, and then was given a 2-game ban.
I wonder what he had to say. He missed his shot.
Well, I mean, I think it's besides that, but like, I think the point is, like, you can't argue with the ref after the game's done.
No. And I heard it got a little bit vicious.
I can imagine.
I heard it got a little bit vicious.
And that's a shame, too. Teo's like, he's one of the best left backs in the world.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Maybe right there behind Alphonso Davies.
Wow. Well, in any event, you pay for your behavior.
Yep.
And another, you know what I mean? Which would have, that story must have been huge over in Europe, too.
No, especially in Italy.
Oh, massive.
League leader Napoli wins versus Como 3-1. Inter beat Torino 3-2. Thuram with the hat trick for Inter. So I guess the mayor of that city got his way, unfortunately.
There you go. But you know what's interesting about the Italian league? There's only 6 points separating 1 from 8, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very competitive this year. I took a look. I don't know. Is Napoli a big team? I guess.
They won a couple years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, they won the 2020, what have been 22-23 season.
Well, I was looking over the standings and I said, because I'm always looking for, who is it? Juventus.
They're hanging in there, and they're the next piece of news where they conceded their first goal of the season, a 1-1 draw versus Cagliari, which is they're a bottom feeder, so that was a little bit surprising as well. Juve still up there in the table, of course. Retegui got a hat trick for Atalanta and a 5-1 win versus Genoa. So Atalanta, not the greatest season. They're coming off a Europa League win last year, so I think so. Still going for some hardware. If you look at the standings, Napoli's at top of the table, 16 points.
Yes.
Inter right behind with 14. Juventus, Lazio, Udinese with 13. Then Milan and Torino with 11 points each.
So those Udinese and Lazio, they don't lose much, but do you think that they're a threat?
What do you mean? They each have a couple losses.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I'm saying like with their standing, they got a lot. They don't lose a lot. Their goal differential's not bad, and they're just
Udinese is even.
Are they? Is it even?
Yeah.
I thought one of them was up.
Lazio's +3, but even then, that's not that great.
So like, are they?
Milan, who's below them, is a +6.
So you're not saying that they have any chance? They're just going to stay in the middle of the pack?
I would be surprised if they were still this high by the end of the season.
Oh, okay. Just trying to learn.
Like Atalanta and AC Milan. I mean, Roma has had a miserable start as well. I imagine they're going to pick it up as well after firing De Rossi. We talked about that earlier in the year.
Yeah, but it's only not even halfway through the season. We got a lot of games to go.
Not even a fifth of the way through the season.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Plenty of soccer left to go, which is exactly my point. In the Premier League, Nottingham Forest got a 1-1 draw at Chelsea despite a red card. So my Chelsea failing to take care of opportunity there. Liverpool won 1-0 at Crystal Palace.
Staying undefeated.
Yeah, helping them stay atop of the table as well.
Yes, exactly.
Man City beat Fulham 3-2, was maybe one of the best games of the week. Arsenal beat Southampton 3-1. Aston Villa drew Manchester United 0-0. And Brighton, who continues to be one of the surprises this year, beat Spurs 3-2 in a comeback victory after going down 2-0 in the 35th minute. Brentford beat Wolverhampton 5-3, and that was the biggest scoring game of the Premier League that past weekend.
Liverpool 6-0, looking pretty good, aren't
6-0-1.
6-0-1.
Well, so they do have a defeat.
Do they?
Yeah, they lost 1-0 a couple weeks ago. I forgot about that.
So there's
Manchester City and Arsenal are undefeated.
Oh yeah,
but they're both second and third because wins are the big points, right?
Of course, what it is, they both tied a couple times, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Long
way to go. Long way to go.
Liverpool first with 18 points. Yeah. Man City and Arsenal right behind with 17. And then Chelsea, Aston Villa at 14. And then right behind them is Brighton, one of the surprises I said, and Newcastle each tied with 12 points.
Here we go. Now we going to Spain?
I'm going to Spain.
Wow.
Taking a trip all across Europe.
8-0. Aren't they?
What?
Barcelona. They're bulls, aren't they?
Well, they went to Deportivo Alaves with a 3-0 win. Lewandowski, all 3 goals for a hat trick. Before he got to even the 33rd minute.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, he's one of the best.
Yeah.
Was a great pickup there. I mean, spent all those years with Bayern Munich. One man's trash is another man's treasure, I suppose.
There's a perfect example of it. You know what I mean? They got a great record, though, Barcelona.
They do. And then Real Madrid beat...
Hanging in there.
Well, they won versus Villarreal 2-0. And then Barcelona 8-0-1. They do have only one loss in the season, but I believe that was last weekend. Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid actually undefeated still.
Oh, that's right.
In Spain, although they both have lost in Champions League, so it's not a complete undefeated season for them.
Well, I'm looking at it this way. When we're talking about it, we get to midway season. I think Barcelona is just going to keep pulling farther away from the pack.
Yeah, they're top of the table, 24 points in 9 games. Real Madrid right behind with 21 points. Atletico and Villarreal behind them with 17. Then Osasuna and Athletic 15 and 14 points respectively.
Do you know, it's just the last little while, and I didn't even know this, that when I was looking for the standings on this, I didn't realize that table was the standing. Yeah. Like, that's another thing I learned about soccer. I mean, I meant to bring that up a little while ago, but I'm not saying that I knew what the table was a year ago. You know what I'm saying? But now, every time I hear it, I go, how many times did I pass that button? What's
it just means the standings.
The standings, yeah. Learn something new every day, people.
In the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich drew 3-3 at Eintracht Frankfurt. And then RB Leipzig won 1-0 at Heidenheim, tying Bayern for first place. They're each top of the table with 14 points. Both of them still undefeated, 4-2-0.
Should be interesting.
Yep.
That's the team the Red Bull guy owns, right? Or he's going to be...
RB Leipzig, that's the one.
That's the one. I noticed them in the standings. They were okay.
They're looking pretty good. I mean, when you're tied for Bayern Munich, that's never a bad thing.
No kidding. But that league's they played less games so far, so it's such a...
Well, they played less in total.
Yeah.
Because there's less teams. Them and the French Ligue 1. Moving to Ligue 1, PSG got the draw 1-1 at Nice, and Monaco won 2-1 at Rennes, taking control of first place.
Yes. Is Monaco a big team? I got to keep asking these questions so I know. I'll be monitoring it for the whole year, but I don't.
Yeah, Monaco, they're like usually in Champions League.
Yeah.
Yeah, money. Shocker.
Gee, no kidding. I just see Monaco and I go, that makes sense to me, but it's a long way to go.
Sure. Monaco, though, top of the table, undefeated, 6-1-0 with 19 points. Then is PSG, 5-2-0, again undefeated with 17. Marseille's third with 14 points, tied with Stade Reims. Then we have Lille featuring our boy, Jonathan David, fifth place with 13 points.
You know what I'm going to do, though, now that we're following this a bit more, and that's what I'm saying is I'm going to be waiting because, like, Monaco is going to have to play PSG eventually, right? Like, there's certain games on the schedule.
Oh, they play them twice.
Twice, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so I'm going to be starting looking now that the standings are going to get there. We're going to get in the meat of the schedules. Be looking forward to some games that maybe I wasn't looking. And a lot of the games are on TV.
Yeah, a lot of the La Liga games are on TV. Bundesliga, I think they actually took off TV now. Premier League, you get some games on TV. Serie A, they showed like a lot of them on Telelatino with the Italian commentary.
Oh yeah, I don't.
But which is weird. I think it's Italian commentary recorded here.
Really?
Yeah, because they mentioned like other stuff happening like on Telelatino or whatever. So I think they're just like watching it on a screen.
Okay, that's interesting.
Hey, I mean, why not? If you ever way to relate it to the local audience,
why not? Anyway, it's going to get there. No kidding. I kind of like that personally. I think I like the idea.
Although calling a game on TV is never. No. I think they do the same thing on TSN, like the Champions Hockey League in Europe. They it's like the TSN guys, but they're calling it like.
Oh yeah, they got a big screen. I heard was it Gordon Miller talking about it one time. He said, "Yeah, we do have a giant screen, but it's
never the same as
No.
One last thing for Ligue 1, Davita Shivli get a hat trick in a 3-1 win versus Auxerre. So a big hat trick weekend in soccer.
I'm telling you, if you get 3 goals in a game, wow. Sometimes when you see, especially 1-1, 0-0, 1-1, guys score 3, but that guy's a great player. Mm-hmm. You know, another one of those world-class goal scorers, so to speak.
Yep. And now soccer's on its international break. In Europe, they're playing Nations League. Italy got a 2-2 draw versus Belgium. They're still top of their group for this competition. They play Israel later in the week, so that should be a win, hopefully.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to dissect it, like, in context of the NHL, which we'll talk about later, but I find it interesting now, like, if you look around the world, they're already starting to have qualifying games for the World Cup, too.
Yes, in Brazil, or in South America, they're doing their World Cup qualifying games.
It's already started there, so how everybody moves their schedule around to do it, which gets back to my premise, which I was talking about the last show, is sometimes it's better if you play a few less games for the quality of the product on the field becomes better. You're not wearing these guys out, so to speak. You know what I mean? The way they do it, because like I say, like I noticed on one of the scheduling, it said something break, and I looked it up, and they're playing internationals. They're playing friendly. They're playing World Cup.
Yep.
Qualifiers. The same thing's going on in Europe so soon too, isn't it?
World Cup qualifiers?
Yeah.
That probably won't be starting till next fall.
Next fall?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so. Because I think, they're doing Nations League now, which is basically like they came up with like a regular season for international teams, which I think is a cool idea, better than just doing friendlies. And that ends in, I want to say that ends in like March or May.
So that's when they say international break is for all those games, right?
Yeah. Any game where you're representing your country.
It's okay.
And then Canada plays a friendly versus Panama on October 15th.
Yep.
Only one match during international break, which is whatever.
That's why we never get ahead.
Yeah, I know. You should have 2.
Yep.
Either way, I think that's it for international soccer, unless you got any more.
No.
All right, we'll move us to the WNBA, where we are finally in finals mode. New York, of course, bested Las Vegas 3-1 in their series, and Minnesota bested Connecticut 3-2. Now it's number 1 New York versus number 2 Minnesota. As we may have known, the Minnesota Lynx took the season series 3-1 against New York this season, including the Commissioner's Cup final, which they won 94-89 in New York. This is a series that's not short of any great players involved. Brianna Stewart's been an MVP. Ionescu on New York, we know she can shoot it. But Collier on Minnesota might be the player. She might be the best player in all this series
right now. So, first of all, if anybody did pay attention to, shout out to the girls because both semifinal series were great. There was a little bit of animosity when we got towards the end of the Aces and the Liberty playing, but that's just the way it goes when you lose. You know what I mean? And being 2 times champions and all. But everyone made a great showing. The Lynx coming down and putting away Connecticut the way they did in another great game. But we got the first game of the finals that went overtime.
Minnesota stole one in New York.
18-point deficit that they had, that they stormed back for. And this Collier, by the way, she had 21. 8 and 2 was her line with a couple of blocks. 2 of her partners.
6 blocks, 3 steals.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She was insane. And not only that, there was this girl, I didn't even know who she was, Natisha Heedman. She got 10 boards, but she did the proverbial dirty work. All that stuff going on, like, when you're on that.
You mean 10 points?
Yeah, she got 10 points, but didn't she get 10 rebounds too?
3 rebounds.
Didn't they have a 10-board person on their team?
Their center had 9 rebounds. That was their highest. Alana Smith.
Okay, maybe that's who it was. In any event, they did. I just seen the highlights. I wish I had seen the whole game because I missed it for some reason.
New York had a girl with 10 rebounds, Jonquel Jones. She was the highest scorer for New York in Game 1.
And Brianna Stewart got locked down a bit. She didn't have her best night. I mean, she played well, but her shooting percentage was a little bit. Yes, stuff like that at the end. But it was a great game, first game, and we're going into overtime. This probably is going to go 5 games. And didn't you say you took the Liberty to win it all, right?
Yeah, I did.
I did.
I'm sticking by that too.
I took the Aces. Yeah, no, this is far from over. And like I said, they came back from an 18-point deficit. And the Liberty had some experience of like where the Aces jumped on them, but they responded and came right back and won. So I think that they've got the mettle to do it. And like we said, the Aces, we both said Aces Liberty was basically we thought who was going to win the championship. So in any event to the girls, thank for a great show in the first game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Game 2 is going to be Sunday at 3 p.m., which I think is a weird time. I don't know why they're putting it against NFL.
That's...
Wouldn't you rather go up against college on Saturday?
I'd go on a Saturday night even.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You got enough people down there that are going to watch it, but putting it at the heart, like that's just bad marketing. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell are they doing? I don't know. I don't get it. Because you know what I mean? You've had a great season. You have great exposure. You got game 2. First game's in overtime, and you're going to put it in where nobody going to be watching it.
No.
You know what I mean?
Unless you're a huge fan of those teams.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what I do? I'll hit the PVR button and watch it at midnight or something. I won't run into the score. Because you know what? If you're not watching football, you don't see anything else.
You'll have your 4 football games on.
That's it. I'll be busy with that, and that's it is. But congratulations to the girls. Really good show. Really good performance in the first game. Especially fascinated by an 18-point deficit. Coming back from that, it was frantic.
Absolutely.
It was frantic.
And the WNBA also announcing that the finals will be a best of 7 next year.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
Even better.
Which I think is very cool.
Yep.
We'll move this along to one of our favorites here, of course, of the house that happens, the NHL, where the Leafs, they lost their first game to Montreal 1-0. The first Leaf shutout since November 20th, 2021, the 3rd longest streak in NHL history.
God bless the Montreal Canadiens, okay? Now, that being said, this is the Toronto Maple Leaf Report. So I want to just say one thing as I'm walking around the city in Etobicoke, Leaf Nation, walking around in my Habs gear, which was so much fun. I love doing it. Everywhere you go, someone's ripping at you. People roll down their windows and yell at you. What are you wearing? No, you know where you're at. All that kind of stuff. Anyways, I talked to a few people, walking into Tim Hortons, walking into Shoppers, walking into the bakery. And I want to point out something to you Leaf fans. The best line on your team in the first 2 games was the Austin Matthews, Nyes, Marner line. So shut up already.
Not in the New Jersey game.
Oh, it's close. They were there, but they were close checking because they were against Hughes a lot of the time. So they got jammed up, but they played well. Just because the fourth liner scored a couple of goals. My point is this. Don't worry about it, people. Matthews had more chances than anybody. What, he had 4 goalposts in the first 2 games? Stop it.
Well, he hit the goalpost. That means you missed the net. But.
Okay, I know that's your theory, but I mean he's getting those kind of chances.
That's not the theory. It's the truth.
Okay, I'll let you get away with that. My point being is that, and I'm not going to try to do this for the rest of the year because it's a long season to go. It's just the people that talk to me on the street that know I have a podcast and stuff like this. You should be happy with your depth. And
absolutely. I'm not complaining.
And your goaltending. Already, come on, that Wall thing coming up.
I think the Leafs have 4 solid goaltenders we could turn to this year.
Don't bring in Matt Murray. Come on.
Why not?
Okay, well, we'll see when he plays. We're going to get there. Anyways, the word on the street is we're paying these guys all this money. They haven't even scored a goal yet. Stop it.
It's a long season.
Very long season. But in my opinion, and I watched it, and I actually watched the Jersey game, most of it twice, just because what you were talking about. No, because it's on. I got the screen, right? So if you have 4 screens in the middle of the day and you're sitting around letting your dog take a nap, what do? You might as well watch to see what you're doing. And one of the things that I've seen, it was a little timid at the beginning. I think the Benoit guy, he's going to rise. He's going to rise up. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's
I'm not worried about Benoit.
I had a big thing. Your guy McCabe, you know what he was good for? And because I'm saying he's the guy that I would go, that's your 6th guy, really, in my opinion. But when it got to that end of that Jersey game and you need that mucking around bullshit to end the game where all that's going on, he's a great mucker. You know what I mean? He's a great mucker, and sometimes you need that. You know what I mean? But just think of the first game. God bless the Habs. Montembeault played great. I mean, he stole the game.
I'm not sure about that because I think it was just more the Habs, their system, their 5-man unit was just playing more stifling. I don't think they gave the Leafs that many great scoring chances.
Oh, they gave them a bunch, but the puck was being fired at them. Anytime you're firing shots on goal, you're getting chances, right?
That's not true. I don't believe that.
Oh, well,
soft shot right into the goalie's chest, that counts as a scoring chance now?
Well, it's better than a shot attempt, isn't it?
That is a shot attempt, though.
But it hits the goalie, then it's a shot and goal. I'm going to go.
No, but it's a shot attempt and a shot on goal.
Okay,
shot attempt is a whole big umbrella.
I got you. We'll argue about this all day. When I'm saying that sometimes when you look at the shots at goal, it could be a little bit bloated. I will go there. But for certain periods of time, the Montreal defense, especially at times, we were young. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And Lane Houston looked good at times, but he got pushed.
Lane
Hudson, yeah. He looked good at times, but he still got to play a little bit bigger. And you guys had...
Well, he's 5'10".
Yeah, but he's a little bit stocky, but he's going to have to grow into it, just like the other guy we have in the wing. Oh, I'm forgetting his name. The kid, he just played the second game. Lanky, got good moves, but he's not much fatter than his hockey stick. But in any event, what I'm saying is that I wouldn't say nothing when the people on the street I've been talking to about the Leafs. It's only 2 games, people. My prediction was you're going to go 0-2, and good call on you maybe because the Buffalo still looks a little saggy in their next game when we were talking about having to play in Prague and that. But I
thought... Jet lag. It's a real thing.
Yeah, maybe. I thought maybe that the time would be there. Whatever, I'm not really sure. But I thought that the pace of the game in Montreal and Toronto was better than the pace of the game in New Jersey at times.
Sure.
Because both those teams can play defense, and Berube's a defensive type of guy. So expect a lot of games like that till we get to the end, in my opinion.
I just thought the whole talk about right after TSN was talking about how Montembeault is a favorite now to make Team Canada.
No. Look, I'm a Habs guy. I'm happy how we look, but look what happened the next night. We went into Boston and
well, you had your. Can I call your other goalie a bum?
No, you should call him a sieve.
A sieve?
Yeah, they know what a sieve is? No. Things that go right through it. They go right through it. He's a sieve. The back of his neck had a red mark on it. It was getting burned. I'm looking forward to bringing up our other guy from the AHL. I'm not this Primo guy, maybe in a couple of games, because I've been hearing for the last couple of years. Serge was a big fan.
A Primo?
A bit of a fan of Primo.
I never saw it with him.
I don't see it now. And the other night, it would have been a little bit more competitive. We tightened up later, but we were down by 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I said to my theory, and it's very, very early, I said, if Brendan Gallagher can score 20 goals on the fourth line for us,
that's a big ask.
Got 2 last night.
Good for him.
Okay, so we got a whole season to go. He looked good.
So he's going to score 82 goals then?
No,
with his
he's
pace.
not. No, he's not. 100% not. But I'm saying for our fourth line looked good. Like, we were competitive.
Sure.
It's our back end I'm worrying about, and we're not going to win with Primo in the net.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I thought Stolarz looked good game 1.
I thought he looked great too.
Only allowed 1 goal. There was one giveaway he had that was whatever, but I don't know. I think I'd still take his puck skills rather than Samsonov's.
Oh, 100%. No doubt about that. And you know what? You guys they're always talking about, you hear it every game now, and I don't always believe in it, but you got to give it an ounce of credibility. Is your goalies are 6'5", 6'6". So if you're a 6'2" goalie, now you're small. And this Hildeby guy, when you hear his track record, he's been playing pro hockey for about, 4 years now? He won a big championship in the Swedish league. Like, this guy.
He was arguably the Leafs' best prospect on the Marlies last year.
There you go. And that's what I'm saying. But, his playing level, because he didn't look out of place at all. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
You know what I mean? But I'm saying to play that much pro hockey before he's got here in big games. That's a Swedish big league. And he was a championship. He was a goalie on a championship team. It's got to be credit for something. You know what I mean? So, obviously, he's got a little bit of intestinal fortitude and some rocks. So, I think you guys are going to look good. Like I said, it's only a 2-game sample. Let's just cut to the chase.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about Ekman Larsson becoming a scapegoat already for the Leafs, though, especially with the fans. He got roughed up on social media after game 1, especially because of that missed break, the whole breakaway opportunity thing.
It was a 1-0 game, people. Shut up. I thought the most interesting thing of the game.
Well, I would just say it's like he's a defenseman for a reason.
Thank you. Okay, can we look at it that way? It was 1 game. I thought the interesting factor.
I thought he was great in game 2 against New Jersey.
Oh,
that was
he
when
was
I
solid.
saw the full thing.
He was solid. You know what I mean?
Also, shout out to my boss Franco scheduling a wine tasting night on on game 1 for the Leafs against Montreal.
Oh, there you go.
So I had to work that night.
Oh, there you go. Anyways, I'm
gonna play this during our Tuesday meeting, Franco. So you're gonna hear this.
Okay, you got to let him know that. But in any event, one of the interesting sidebars that came out of the Montreal-Toronto game is you must have heard the Domi, Savard, Aberjacki.
Yeah, tell Aberjacki to pick on someone his own size.
What's that?
Tell the Jack guy to pick on someone his own size.
Well, look, what do you mean? Domi was getting all rough. He said, nah, come on, if you're going to be tough, go after
He went after Savard, who's bigger than him.
In any event.
Come on. Don't shake your head like that. Tell Jacques guy to pick on someone his own size, that fucking coward.
Oh, no.
Or he's going to fucking chicken wing someone again.
Oh, no. I'm just saying I liked what happened.
Oh, you like goons.
No, I don't. I'm just saying that what it is set a different table because all of a sudden the word around the campfire is we never heard another word out of Domi for the rest of the game.
That's hearsay, though.
I don't know. There was a guy on the ice that said some interesting things happening. Now, that's only 1 game, and I'm not promoting that Aberjacki's a goon, but I'm just saying that.
Because the Habs reporters have never twisted words.
The Leafs guys haven't
narrative.
either. All we know is
this isn't about the Leaf reporters, though, is it?
I'm just saying the bottom.
I'm with you there, though, about the Leaf reporters. That's fine, but this isn't about that.
Okay, the bottom line is this: is that the Habs are not going to get pushed around. I like that. We got a lot of small guys on our team. I'm glad that they're sticking together this early. We got a little pushed around in Boston because they got their big defenseman. But I'm telling you this. My prediction on Boston taking a step back, I'm taking that to the bank. A couple of young kids on Boston look good, but they're raw. Zakic could be rising up. That Riki guy could be rising up. But
everyone's forgetting about Lorite, too.
Oh, he's a good hockey player. But I'm just saying, I don't know.
He's going to get a lot more ice time this year.
That's the question is, what is he going to do with it? I just see something about Boston. I'm saying, I don't know. And everyone's going to say, you're the biggest Bruin hater on the history of the world.
Watch, by Christmas, they're going to be first in the division.
I'm going to say we're going to have to see. I'll say that. All depends on how much Florida has a hangover and, of course, how well the Toronto Maple Leafs play. You know what I mean? Interesting game last night with Carolina and
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, hold on. A few more Leaf things I want to get to. So, obviously, Joseph Wall got injured. It was rumored that he got hurt on Monday or Tuesday, actually, and was kind of like hiding it, I guess. And so there's been a lot of injury concerns about him. The theory I heard is that he's just kind of like an all or nothing guy. So they're going to have a talk with him about like, hey, like, you don't have to go all out all the time, especially in practice.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's just a drag because
It is a drag because he's got all the talent in the world. He's like technically sound in net.
Oh no, I give him all the
this.
skills a million times.
You don't know if he's up 5-0 or down 5-0 by watching him.
No kidding. And not only that, if you remember at the beginning of last season, I was the one that was proclaiming that Wall would be your starting goalie by the time the playoffs came around.
Which wasn't true.
No, because it was injuries and shit. But I mean, and now he's supposed to be your number one goalie. Okay,
He was supposed to start game 1, yeah.
Okay, so my thing about the Leafs is you always got to worry about this is can these guys someone's going to have to start 40 games. None of these guys have started 40 games. Maybe one of these guys is going to have to start 50 games. None of these guys have started 50 games. However, it comes to a point in your career where every great goalie starts to play 40 or 50 games. So I look at it as a glass half full with the Leaf goaltending, from my point of view anyway, regardless of the situation with Wall, which is a bitch. If you're
It sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, we talked about the Hildebeest, called him up, looks very good.
6'6". 6'6". Wow. And the guy had moxie. But in any event, I got a few other notes you want to talk about the Leafs. Like, I just want to get back to one subject really quickly here and talking about it. The element of big, tough, and crazy in the NHL is back, bro.
Oh, yeah.
It's back in a big way. I'm sorry. I watched a lot of
Florida, you can thank them for that.
We'll get to that later. But I'm just saying, so not to say that I'm pro-goon, but I'm seeing a lot of teams are trying to play big. And the teams that aren't trying to play big, they're getting pushed around. Like Colorado thought they would get into a skating game, and Vegas said, well, we're going to hit everything that we can see. What was the final score?
8-4.
8-4. And this is like a very, not even a sample size, but what's really got my ear is because I've watched so many different games because the NHL Center Ice is on right now for free. I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. So,
well, it's the first week it's free.
Yeah, so I've been with the 4 screens and hitting the PVR. I'm watching who's doing what. Barbashev, that guy, he's looked amazing. Like, I know he's been good, but he's one of the best guys I've seen this week playing. But my point is, every announcer and every commentary, they're almost a little hype with it. Like, you know, they got to go to that highlight. They got to talk about this size. They got to talk about this contact, which I've heard more at the start of this season than I've heard in years. You know what I mean? So let's not digress. You got a good product on the ice. I like when everyone's going fast. Yeah. If something happens, you bang in together and you got to take a situation, great. But I'm with you, my accomplice. I don't want to go back to 1976.
No.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at?
Oh, I completely get where you're coming from. Also, the Leafs are cap compliant this year by $1.
That guy that they left behind, like Dubas' old buddy, the money guy.
Well, Shanahan, that was his first hire when he got.
Notice he didn't go nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's very, very.
He's
good.
a Shanahan guy, not a Dubas guy.
There you go. So, anyways, I don't think he's going to go anywhere. Good move by the Leafs. You know what I mean? And they got Murray through waivers.
Yep.
So,
who's going to pick him up
anyway? But
given his injury history, the only other two teams that had information on him definitely did not want to pick him up.
Oh, of course.
Pittsburgh not. If Pittsburgh picked him up, that would have been just the cruelest thing ever, considering how the fans treated him there at the end.
No.
Yeah. Even though he is a Kyle Dubas, Sault Ste. Marie guy.
Okay.
The Leafs put Timothy Liljegren. Did not get into that New Jersey game, which I thought was shocking considering it was a back-to-back. He's officially on the trade block, although I think they're going to have to get very creative to move him.
Oh, I do too. And the word around the campfire, it's already started in the clubhouse. He's not a Berube guy. You know what I mean?
I wonder if the Islanders are interested. They seem to like these former Leaf guys.
Oh, yeah. And the Islanders had a tough start for their first game of the year. They lost in overtime. That was a little bit of a messy game. But like I said, it's early in the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Tavares and Leafs talking extension.
Oh, of course. What's the number? What's the number?
Under 7.
Oh, yeah, under 7 for sure. I would even say I would go as low as 5 at this point.
Hey, if he takes a haircut like that, I won't complain.
What if he says he wants 5 years?
5 years for $5 million?
At his age?
I think he'd work with that.
First 3 last year, you might have to eat it.
That's fine.
I think it's going to be something.
I don't think he's going to take a 5-year deal, though.
3 years?
Yeah, I think
he's
it's going to be something like that.
34, right?
Yeah.
35.
I would say 3 or 4 year deal.
So that he can think if he's productive, he can just add one more tiny bag on at the end. God bless Tavares. He looked great. He looked
good.
He looked very good.
Scoring that New Jersey game. Nice setup from Domi.
Oh, beautiful setup. And our boy Robertson playing with Pastore, that's a solid third line.
With Holmberg. Holmberg quickly has established himself as a Berube guy, which I like.
Oh, yeah. But that line moved well. I thought that's what I'm saying. So all the people on the street we're talking about, the Leafs are showing depth.
Yeah.
And that's huge. You know what I mean?
Oh, and speaking of, I mentioned the cap before. So I was right last week or on the midweek show about how you accrue cap space. It has nothing to do with LTIR. It's just about, so basically the formula is how much cap space you have, I should say it's total days in the season divided by days left, I believe, and you multiply that by like the cap space, and like that's how you accrue it.
That's very cool that we define that, because when you listen to us talking about it on the NHL preview show, there's a lot of confusion, except exemplified by my stupidity at that moment. But I was very interested. I'm glad you could put that out there.
So the team,
makes sense.
So a team like the Leafs, not in a great position to accrue cap space, but Florida, who has $500,000 cap space right now, they're going to be in great position come the trade deadline.
That's how it works. And
maybe my pick of them going to the finals might look good by springtime.
We'll discuss that. We haven't had no time there, but are you anything else you'd like to talk about our beloved Toronto Maple Leafs and Leaf Nation in Etobicoke?
No, just looking forward to the game tonight. Shout out Steven. Him and his buddies are going to the home opener tonight.
Oh,
against
great.
Pittsburgh.
Gotta go there. I got a few notes about this.
Oh, and also the Devils hate Sheldon Keefe since they didn't get him the revenge win.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Well, I got a few notes that I just noticed because it's very early in the season. But big shout out to Utah starting out 2-0. Did you see their opening and their grand opening?
Markkanen from the Jazz skated onto the ice for the opening puck drop. That was awesome.
That's what I'm saying. And then the flurry and they, like what the announcers are saying, because I had that turned up a bit, the crowd level was insane for one game, but it is the very first game.
I think it's going to be like that all season.
Oh, 100%, because they're so happy to have hockey. And but the way they presented it, like one of the biggest follies in the NHL, they seem to fall behind every other league and how they do that promotion to get them there. And Utah come almost in with a basketball type, this is how we're going to start the season. Because another thing I wanted to shout out is people said, like when they started the games in Montreal and Toronto and Boston, oh, what boring starts. Because, they call out the players. Shut up, people. Here's the thing. Don't you believe in tradition? There's some value in having traditions. That's how did we
home
get
opener,
it?
like that's
home
what
opener.
You do.
Oh, it's boring. It's this, it's that. Well, I think the Habs have been doing that 1,000 years. The Leafs have been doing their things 1,000 years. Boston. These are original 6 teams. Let's just say
who's complaining that's boring?
Oh, I heard lots of shots around the league, around people saying like
pundits?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and a few places on a few blogs I'd seen and a few threads. And I'm going, but the big throwback was, let's value tradition, people. This is how we got here. You know what I mean? I see nothing wrong with it. I mean, I didn't watch the Boston one. As soon as it was there, I just turned it down and said, like, next. But, I mean, they did their thing, and I think we should respect tradition.
Oh, shout out to the New Jersey Devils for naming. They're going to be sponsoring the MVP for the New Jersey State Tournament, and they're naming it after the Goudreau brothers.
Oh, yeah, that's very cool. Which they will not be forgotten.
And they have their high school jerseys on display at the arena. I thought that was very cool.
Very
By the way, New Jersey, apparently you could have gotten tickets for that home opener for as low as $5.
That's Jersey, baby.
That's sad.
Well, look where they're in the pecking order in New York. Where are they on the pecking order? Let's just look around.
I thought they were supposed to have like a solid fan base, though.
They
like 3 Stanley Cups, baby. Come on.
Oh, stop. They didn't even were that crazy back in the day. Don't let anyone fool you. Because look over there in that market, okay? Let's just look around. First of all, Philadelphia is just down the street. It's close. And Philadelphia kicks the shit out of
And the Rangers suck a lot of the air out of the room. I get that.
Oh, and just what's going on in the city right now, too. Oh, just happened to be the Mets and the Yankees both going into the
championship series.
Championship series. You got that, whatever's going on in New York with that team wearing green, which we will get to later. And where are they in the pecking order? Like you said, we've already said the Rangers. You know what I mean? So, and the New York Liberty.
Yeah,
is in the final. So where is Jersey on the pecking order?
What team wearing green are you talking about?
Jets.
Oh,
but right now
I forgot they existed.
Well, there you go. But right now in the pantheon, New York, what are they talking about? New York, come on. You know what I mean? It's one of the subject matters. So that puts Jersey down. Not just talking about all the sports. Now the start of the hockey season, and they just were in Prague to open the season. Come on. I'm not surprised.
I had some friends trying to spin it to me that it was actually sad that Toronto's charging so much. I'm like, well, that means actually that people care here.
Demand. Demand, end of story.
They're like, if the Leaf ownership really cared, they'd lower the tickets. I'm like, they're a business.
Oh,
like they owe it to their shareholders to maximize profit.
Okay,
you want cheap hockey? Go watch the Marlies or the
Columbus.
I was gonna say Marlies or Brampton Steelheads.
Yeah, which we're going to try to do 100%.
No, we will do.
We will do.
Try
okay.
not.
Okay, but in any event, the point being is. I'm not surprised that's going to happen in some market. It's going to be that way till Christmas because football is still dominant. So some of these markets have got to understand that's why Utah's so excited. All they ever had was the Jazz. You know what I mean? So now they've got a hockey team. So a big shout out to the way they market it, to the owner, to
Ryan
the fan
Smith.
base, the whole 9 yards.
Do you see the picture of him with Gary Bettman?
They didn't look like they could give a damn to talk to each other.
There was like so many funny comments about that.
They're not this. Gary Bettman, Ryan, come on.
Well, I think Bettman realized, like, he's like, this guy's an asset. It's like, I'm not having him here because I like having beers with him.
Oh yeah, exactly. You know, that's different level of people. Like the way that he's operated and the way Bettman operated, it looked awkward all the time. It did. You see, it looked awkward. But that's okay. Not everybody's supposed to get along. You're in different avenues, different things. Just great job to Utah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Another shout out. Ottawa Senators have now won 5 home openers, if nothing else.
Wow.
In a row. 5 home openers in a row. And they did it again. And not only that, they beat the Stanley Cup champions in their home opener. So you got to give them a shout out. Battle of Ontario.
Wasn't it a back-to-back, though?
What's that?
Or did Florida have a day off in between them?
They had a day off because they had the Tuesday. So it wasn't back-to-back. Because you could say that about Toronto. You could say that about Montreal, but it's too early because we're going to be getting there. Interesting game.
And Ottawa also signing Linus Ullmark, 4-year extension, 8.25, exact same cap hit as Jeremy Swayman.
Interesting.
Did they do the hug when they both signed that contract?
They probably did. But not only that, he looked good against the Panthers, even though it was early.
And I love his Marvin the Martian mask, a reference to Patrick Lalime.
Yes, that's very, very cool. I thought the game, one of the best games I've seen so far was...
And also, speaking of Florida, Verhaeghe signing a 7-year extension, $8 million per.
I was going to get to Verhaeghe in a minute. I was going to say that in the first 3 days of hockey, who are the 3 guys that caught my eye? Jack Hughes, Verhaeghe, and Barbashev.
Man, Jack Hughes was the best player for New Jersey in that New Jersey-Toronto game by far.
No doubt about it.
Oh, my God.
I mean? That's why I said Timo Meier's going to get more goals. He's got to pick up on some of that rebounding shit. You got Jack Hughes on the ice. He controls a lot of it. All you got to do is hang around the net. You can shoot the puck.
I know Timo Meier, though, sometimes you watch him like...
Doesn't get in the middle. He doesn't crash the net enough. He's got to go to the net.
He doesn't use that big body enough.
Exactly. Like if he went, he's like someone's got to tell him. Like go there. He's got 30 goals in that stick playing with Jack Hughes. But sometimes he plays in the other line too. With
but last year he kind of bounced around a little bit. I don't know.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. But we'll get that in a second.
Jack Hughes, when he muscled, he basically pushed David Kampf off the puck, and Kampf is no
pushover.
Yeah.
No. He's gotten bigger. The kid's gotten bigger. Like remember he came in the league, he was a toothpick, so he got banged up. But like he's solid. One of the best I've seen. Best game I've seen all week though was the Predators and the Stars. That was a great game. The Predators won. But the Stars were all over them. And the Stars, when we were doing in the NHL preview, I'm going to go with that. That balance between old guys and new guys in their top 12 is very interesting because the Seguin, Duchesne guys look just as good as the Robertson and the other guys. You know what I mean? Their defense was moving the puck. What's his name in net for the Predators? Had a great game.
Saros.
But there was the pace of the game that I loved. Like it was one of those games where they just went up and down. You know what I mean? There was a few suspicious penalties, which is one of the things that another thing I should have said about the Toronto Maple Leafs is their penalty killing was outstanding.
Their penalty kill's been garbage though so far.
What?
Their power play.
Oh yeah, everybody's is. Everybody in the league's power play is shit. But I mean, you're looking around the league. If you don't kill penalties, you're going to be in trouble really quick. You know what I'm saying? But that was one.
Well, the Leafs need to just work on not taking so many penalties, reel it in a little bit.
But there's a couple of weird things that go on. We talk too much about the Leafs. Like
actually, Nylander got away with one shooting the puck down the ice. I thought he was going to get booked for that too.
Oh, that's probably because he's Nylander. But I bet you he didn't get another shift, did he?
Yeah, I don't think he did.
No, I think he got one more shift, or who knows, whatever happens. The other
didn't see a lot more ice time either way.
No, and as well should be. Like that's your Nylander. Like that's a peewee move.
Yep.
What are you thinking you're doing? Not only that, player safety. All that other crazy stuff. The only other thing I want to bring up during hockey, because it's so short, is God bless the Buffalo Sabres getting off to another brutal start. So they're already in line for an oh my God, and they've only played 3 games.
Yeah, 0-3 already to start the season.
And looked horrible in every game. Every game. You know what I mean? It's just like, and they're just down the road from us. I've got a tiny bit of
Battle the
Buffalo.
QEW.
Down the QE, and it's just sad. Like, worst case scenario, 0-3. And I think their next 2 games, when you check their schedule, could be an 0-5 start. You know what I mean?
Yeah, versus Florida at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, 0-5 start there. That's what it's starting to look. I hope not, because Florida's looking like they got the classic Stanley Cup hangover, except for Verhagen, and they're a good team.
Well, I was going to say that about Edmonton.
Oh,
Edmonton!
6-0. What happened there? We've got to bring that up.
My immediate thought was, oh no, we slept on Winnipeg again. Honestly.
No, I'm not buying into it. It's just one game, very early in the year. We'll figure it out as it goes along. Like I said, let's talk after 10 games, and we're going to see what's going to happen.
Well, what about Kyle Connor scoring in, was it his 7th consecutive opening night game, setting an NHL record? That's fantastic.
Happens to be in my notes here. That's one of the things I'm saying. That's just one of those weirds. He's broke the record now. He's the most.
He has it.
Like, I mean, I forget who the other, and if you look at the other guys on that list, going back in time, it was a pretty sweet list. But 7 in a row? Congratulations, buddy. You're now going to be on Jeopardy.
Yes, it is a trivia question.
It'll be a trivia question on Jeopardy. Which I'd like to have that be the answer of that trivia question. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Also, some buzz finally in San Jose. People were actually lining up against the glass to catch a little bit of Macklin Celebrini in warm-up, which people do not usually come into San Jose for the warm-up, so that's pretty cool that people are excited for the kid.
And he looked good out there, you know what I mean?
Scored the first goal in that game. I mean, they blew it, but
of course, yeah.
He's already got a couple points on the board.
Good for him. I love the way he skates, eh?
I told you, man, we were sleeping on him coming into the season. Not nearly enough buzz as there should have been.
And maybe you're right because of the Bedard overkill. Bedard's looking like he's trying too hard. Like
you
ever
think
since,
so?
Yeah, because maybe it's the announcers. Because I got the Chicago feed, and it was just Bedard overkill by the end of the game.
He got a couple points in that opener against Utah.
Yeah, but one of them was one of those secondary assist bullshit.
A point is a point is a point.
I got so. Well, Robertson set up was the main reason they scored that Passaretti goal, or who scored it? He was the one that set it up, but because it bounced around and Timmins kicked it with his foot, Robertson didn't get an assist. But if you go back, I watched it in real time 3 times. I go, that's a bitch.
Okay. He would have gotten a pat on the shoulder by Berube.
Oh, 100%. Everyone knew. It wasn't Robert. You know the play I'm talking about.
Yeah. The opening goal.
Yeah, he would have. That should have been. He didn't get a point for that.
No. But he got a plus.
Okay.
And also, got to shout out Steven Lorenz. He's looked good on the Leafs' 4th line.
Yes.
Wearing number 18 keeps throwing me off because I'm like, oh, man, Noah Gregor got really good.
Oh, yeah. One of the things that I want to talk about really quick before we end the hockey segment is Tampa ended up winning. And I know that you love dragging their dick in the dirt.
Oh, it's my favorite hobby.
Okay, so there you go. But here's an interesting thing. Last year at this time, their cap situation looked kind of bizarre. Go look at their cap situation now. Somebody in their front office is knowing what he's doing. But here's the thing that caught my attention the most. Now, they have shade differently. They won the Stanley Cup in 2021, right?
Yes, that was the last time.
Okay, so it's now the start of the 2024 or 25 season. They've only got 7 guys left from that team.
Crazy, isn't it?
It's just insane when you think about that. So, and now they've bounced around where they're more cap friendly. They got a couple of young kids that they didn't bring up, that they drafted, that we didn't know what they're all about, that look like they weren't out of place out there. You know what I mean?
What prospects?
One guy's 20. Should have wrote it down.
Connor Geeky?
Yeah.
I think they got him in that trade for Sergachev.
Yeah, he didn't look too bad. You know what I'm saying? So you're
I'm saying their situation's still not great because they don't have a first round pick this year.
Oh no, okay, I'm not talking about that. I mean, they've cleaned up their salary cap.
They have
their draft situation is still not the greatest. Okay,
yeah, and that's the problem. If they have to make a deadline move, I mean, they're just going to be more behind the 8 ball.
But
right?
I think that the team's solid enough. Like, I mean, the nucleus is solid enough. If these young kids can play as well, like I said, we shouldn't be talking about it. It's 2 games. We'll talk about it after 10 games. We'll just talk about the nuances that happened during the course of the first 10 games because it's really hard to say what's going on except for the Buffalo Sabres being 0-3.
Yeah, I mean, that sucks. But
yes. I feel for them.
Yeah. Anything else for hockey, or should we just move to our picks?
Okay, let's get to it.
Oh, and
First of the week.
also, just want to mention Shesterkin He's going to sign an 8x12 deal at least. That's my call.
And that's in New York, right? Because look what
Rangers.
the other goalie's got. So what's Sorokin going to get the Islanders?
I don't know. If Patrick Waugh doesn't play him, not that much.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too. And Varlamov did start the first game of the year, didn't he?
He's a Waugh guy. Had him in Colorado.
There we go.
All right, first game of the night, we have LA at Boston. I'm going to take the Bruins at home because I do not believe in the Kings if you listen to our preview show.
Yep, I agree with you.
You're on Boston?
Yes.
Florida at Buffalo. I think Buffalo, they're still got some jet lag. It's going to be a little bit, sorry, Sabres fans, I'm taking the Florida Panthers on the road.
How can you not? We just discussed Buffalo going 0-5. Sorry, Buffalo. And they got some good players. It's just something's discombobulated, especially on the back end. That's how I see it when I see them play.
And their lack of scoring definitely hurts.
Yep.
Pittsburgh Penguins at the Toronto Maple Leafs for the Leafs home opener. I'm going to take Toronto at home.
Pittsburgh looked really bad coming out of that gate. So Toronto home opener, come on. Should be a great celebration of tradition, too.
Yep.
Here it comes. I'm going to watch it. And for anyone that complains about it, eat my shorts. But, yeah, I'll take it Toronto.
Ottawa versus Montreal. I'm going to take Montreal at home. There seems to be magic at the Bell Center on Saturday nights, especially early on in the season.
I'm going to say that I'm only doing it because I don't want to go to confession, but I'm scared. I'm scared. Montauban's going to be playing, so it's going to be good. But Ottawa, they skated well.
I'm still not sold on Ottawa.
I'm not sold on anybody. It's only one game, but maybe they skated well against Florida. I looked at them, and their back end looked a little more together than our back end in the first two games, so to speak. You know what I mean? But I got to take the Habs.
Nashville at Detroit. I'm going to take Nashville to win this one on the road.
I think this is Detroit's home opener, and you're taking
Nashville.
Okay. I'm going to take Detroit. Okay.
I figured you would.
Of course, because look at the roar of the city, man. Come on. Detroit Lions, Detroit Tigers. Now we got the Red Wings. They're going to get a little of that mojo and win tonight. Here we go.
Carolina at Tampa Bay, a little bit of a revenge match from last night. I did have Tampa Bay, but I think I might be changing because Carolina, might be wanting some revenge.
So where's the game? In Tampa, right?
In Tampa.
Back to back, right?
Yep.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that they're going to play that other goaltender, so I'm going to take the backup goaltender on Carolina over Tampa Bay.
Both on the Hurricanes.
Yes. Great game, by the way.
Utah Hockey Club at the New York Rangers. Sorry, Utah, but I think you're going to get your first loss of the season tonight. Give me the Rangers at home.
How can you not? This is their dose of reality.
Yeah. New Jersey Devils at the Washington Capitals. I think New Jersey's going to be still a little jet lagged. Give me the Caps at home.
No, I'm going to take I got no love for the Washington. I'm taking Jersey. They're a good team. They're a good team. They'll get it going.
New York Islanders at the Dallas Stars. I'm going to take Dallas at home.
Okay, on a Saturday night, and I think it's their home opener, isn't it?
Were they in Nashville the other night?
I believe so. Yeah.
So you're on Dallas as well?
Yes, I am.
Seattle at Minnesota. I'm going to take Seattle to take this one on the road.
I'm looking for Minnie.
You like them. You had them in the playoffs this year.
That's right. So I'm taking Minnie.
Columbus at Colorado. I mean, we saw some weird things going on with Colorado last season, but I'm still going to take them at home.
Saturday night at home against Columbus. If they lose this, the alarm bells will go off already. Come on, they'll go off real loud.
Heads will be rolling, and Joe Sakic's going to have the axe.
It'll be loud.
Philadelphia at Calgary. I said on their preview show that Calgary would be one of the worst teams this year. Sorry, but I'm going to take the Flyers on the road.
I'm going to take Calgary on a Saturday night. They came back and beat Vancouver the other night. Improbable win.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
It was. The ice was a little funny. Couple pucks bounced the right way. But Vancouver this was a classic tortoise in the hare game. Like, it got to about the middle of the second period, going towards the end, and Vancouver was skating around like, where are we going for beers, guys? And then, whoops, shit happened. You know what I mean?
Chicago at Edmonton. I'm going to take the Oilers to win at home.
Easily, you got to. They got a show after that.
And last but not least, Anaheim at San Jose. I'm going to take the Ducks to take this one on the road.
You're not going to go with your buddy?
Well, I said Anaheim was going to be one of the most exciting teams.
I know you did.
I had them higher than San Jose in my rankings. You know what? Looking back, I should just double down and put them higher than the Kings, but alas.
Wow. I'm going to take San Jose.
Interesting.
I'm taking San Jose.
All right.
I probably won't be taking them all year, but on this particular show, yeah.
Either way, best of luck to you, sir, on your Saturday night picks.
You too.
Anything else for hockey?
No, I think that's good enough.
All right.
I'm just glad everybody put on your, while you got a chance, if you're a big hockey fan, throw on your center ice. I know everybody streams and shit. I don't really do that, but
it might be free online too. I'm pretty sure it is if you go on the NHL website for this week. For this week.
Just for this week. I don't know if I want to pay for it. I got the box. Enough games come on. Should be good.
Yeah, neither do I. We'll move this on to the NFL. Of course, it's that time, our favorite here, or at least one of our favorites at least. And we will begin with our power rankings. Cruz, would you like to go first?
Okay, just give me a second here. My personal assistant didn't show up, so that really pisses me off.
Oh,
Okay?
Jocelyn, always falling behind.
You know what I mean? So my power rankings go as this. Oh, shit. I already had them down somewhere, didn't I? 1 second. Not to be discombobulated. I got a few things to say about our...
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, number 5. I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens. Number 4, I'm going to take the Detroit Lions. Number 3, I'm going to take the Houston Texans. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. And number 1, I'm going to leave Minnesota.
I couldn't see the forest because of the trees, so mine's a little bit different than yours, but I'm going to take number 5. I'm taking the Washington Commanders.
They were my number 6.
Number 4, I'm taking the Detroit Lions. Number 3, I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh.
Number 2, I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings. And number 1, I have to go with the Super Bowl champions and still undefeated Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow, no Houston.
What's that?
No Houston.
No Houston.
Even after that win against Buffalo.
No. The Buffalo could have won that game.
But they didn't.
No, okay, so we're going to, as we go
and
over...
they did that with Nico Collins getting injured in the first quarter, too.
No kidding. But they got enough receivers. They really do, in my humble opinion.
Sure, but that changes the game plan.
What's that?
And they had Joe Mixon injured, too.
That made a difference. But you know what? Buffalo did a lot of things wrong. Let's just cut to the chase. The 2 best games of the week last week were Houston and Buffalo and
Baltimore, Cincinnati. Oh, that game was incredible.
There's a lot of talk about Josh Allen, concussion protocol, and the last 3 plays of the game.
Yep.
Which was just absolutely ridiculous. Like how they didn't get that game to overtime is beyond me. You know what I mean? So there was some bad things there. Is Josh Allen playing bad? No. Is he got a little bit of erratic? Yes. Is the defense on the back end getting a little exposed with their scheme? Perhaps maybe. Maybe they're going to have to bring it down a little tighter to the line so they can protect against the run.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's got to be there. But the Bills we'll be talking about that. The Bills are playing the Jets this week, and that could be what cures all as far as we know. But that was a great game. What I really liked about it is that this Texas defense is a little bit better than people realize because what's his name? Nico is a defensive guy. But what I want to do before we go on, and just one of the things about the NFL is we're already at week 5.
Nico Ryans,
yeah. Anyways, we're already at week 5. And, of course, I'm always looking at numbers and seeing
what's going on. Week 6,
yes. Week 6 has started. But anyway, my point being is I was looking at the numbers, and you try to figure out who's doing what, because we're always making picks, and we're always trying to make a little buck here or buck there on the games that we're doing. Not that I've won anything this year, I got to be quite honest. But the bottom line is when you do go look at the standings or you go to look at the numbers, things get skewered all over the place. For example, all they're talking about this year, and that's why I have Minnesota at number 2, is that Minnesota is... their sacks alone. Their defense is ferocious. They're talking about Brian Flores, the different way he's changed his scheme so different guys move them from before. So if you check the film and all that kind of stuff, and I've been watching the linemen, and it is quite interesting. Meanwhile, when you go to look at the numbers, the Tennessee Titans have statistically the best defense in the NFL.
But
nothing good comes after but. Okay, we do know that. So then you have to go a little bit deeper and say, who did they play? Okay, did they play at home? Was it a running team and it was a rushing team? So, come on, you can't even compare Minnesota to the Tennessee Titans. So sometimes I think, and this is 5 games into the season, that should be a reasonable sample size of what's going on for the season, but I'm kind of like confused at the moment because
the Titans have played like Well, I mean, they played Green Bay, but besides that, they played no one good.
No one good with no any offense. So you know what I mean? Meanwhile, Minnesota's played who? They played some big teams so far.
San Fran, Green Bay.
Yeah, got teams that can score, but they're still holding their own. So I find it very interesting that sometimes when you're trying to balance the numbers with what's going on in the field, and of course we're listening to everybody telling you what they know because we all think we know it all and we know nothing.
So actually, they held Houston to just 7 points.
What's that?
Minnesota.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that was a great game. But I'm saying they do have their moments. But when you look at it from yards, time of possession, all that other kind of stuff, they're way down the list from Tennessee, and that blew my mind. I knew Tennessee the first 2 games because I did mention I thought their defense was going to be solid. But then what quarterbacks did they play? And they're going to be starting Mason Plumlee this week, I believe, right?
Yeah, Will Levis, it's the end of the road for him, at least for now, because he did not look good.
He was too crazy, man. He was like he was like what they said it. They would say like that would be like Brett Favre when he was in Atlanta. Playing on the practice squad or playing in practices. Like, I mean, you got to love the guy's effort. He's got a gun for his arm.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because when we're going to be talking about our picks and whose team's better in our power rankings, just look at the teams there. What are they doing? Baltimore's supposed to have one of the best defenses in the league, and I think they do. But look at the yards.
They haven't showed up yet.
Well, no. They've had to play against Kansas City. They had to play against Cincinnati, which is the weirdest team in the league if you want to look at numbers, because you're going to talk about Joe Burrow.
That coach has got to get fired.
Is that what you think it is? The Zach Taylor thing? He's got to go?
Oh, in overtime, just a bizarre play call, just like run it up the middle in overtime and like throw the ball, man. You got one of the best quarterbacks in the world. Get closer to the end zone, man.
Oh, I knew that. And then for Baltimore to sneak back the way they did. And the other thing.
And by the way, good call that Derrick Henry was going to end it.
What's that?
You called it last week that Derrick Henry was going to end it.
Oh, yeah. He'll run them down at the end. Here we go. We're going to get him.
And who wins the game for them in overtime?
Oh, Derrick Henry. But the thing about it is that Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP and probably playing as good as any quarterback in the league from now, still has a little bit of enigma about him, is because we've seen him miss so many passes. Like some there, like he's got a great arm. That play will go down where he dropped the ball, picked it up, stiff-armed 2 defenders, and fired it in the end zone. It was a bit of a duck, but he knew who he was throwing it to. But some of the intermediate throws that he was making was the reason they were behind by so many points against Cincinnati in the first place. Because Cincinnati was up at one point, 17?
Yeah.
17, and they stormed all the way back to tie the game. But that just tells you how porous the Bengals defense has been anyway. Mm-hmm. But spectacular performance. But I'm still saying when it gets down to those big games down the road, Lamar's got to be a little bit tighter.
I mean, I would argue their wide receiver core isn't that great either.
Oh, okay, but
Zay Flowers, he's
Lively's been making plays though. They're getting their
Lively another big game. I'm happy I have him on my fantasy team. But.
There you go. I'm saying like they're doing it enough, and what really does it about Baltimore?
But they don't throw to him enough. That's really not part of their game plan to throw their tight ends.
Yeah, but that means that Lamar is at least going through his progressions, right? So if he's doing that, and like sometimes, like I said, when he's got those little short ones, the Zay Flowers or the back coming out of the backfield, sometimes he just zings it or he throws it behind him. You see Lamar doing that. I think I can't argue with 2 MVPs and the performance he just put on Sunday. But I'm saying there's something about him I hope he tightens up a little bit more, because that's the difference between winning a Super Bowl and not. And we know Lamar's record when it comes to the playoffs and how far that he's gotten. I want Lamar to win a Super Bowl because he's one of the most exciting players that's coming in the league in ages.
Hey, if they get Devontae Adams.
Well, that subject's going to come up in a minute. I just want to talk about, does this mean that Cincinnati's season's over?
Oh, 100%.
Can't climb back?
Mountain's too tall to climb back.
They got to go at least 9-3.
Come on, 1-4?
1-4 with
tied with the Browns.
Oh yeah, but that's
Browns.
So would just tell us that division is a write-off. Is Pittsburgh a fraud?
I wouldn't say they're a fraud, but I mean, they definitely have some problems. Could they sneak into the playoffs? Absolutely. I don't think they're going to win their division, though.
Well, I think what's going to happen here is talking about quarterbacks without any accuracy in the intermediate game is Justin Fields is poster child number 1, which leads me to
believe. Yeah, but Russell Wilson's not going to do much better with that team.
Oh, I think that Russell Wilson.
I blame George Pickens for them losing that game on Sunday night.
For the drops?
Yeah.
Okay, well, perhaps maybe. I mean, that was a sloppy, ugly game, by the way. Like, and that was on prime time.
I know that was
America's
the worst
team.
primetime game this year. Oh, actually, no, there was that brutal Titans
Tennessee, Miami. And that's the vanguard of bad.
I take that back. So it was the second worst primetime
game of the year. Yeah, no doubt about it. But what I'm getting at is that Russell Wilson will make those intermediate passes that Justin Fields seems to be missing. Like sometimes he gets across the middle. What's the tight end's name on Pittsburgh? He misses.
But Fields has the mobility, and Russell Wilson doesn't anymore.
But he can throw downfield just as good, if not better. So I'm saying that
if his receivers can make the catch.
Okay, well, Pittsburgh's in the bottom 5 in offense or something, and top 5 in defense. You're going to let that defense be wasted? Like I'm saying, Justin Fields is going to start this week. Pittsburgh's 3-3. Who are they?
3-2. Well, they're 3-2 right now.
3-2. And who are they playing this week? Or they're on the bye?
No, I just had it. No, they do play this week. They're at the Raiders.
They're at the Raiders.
That's a very winnable game.
There we go. So that'll put them up at 4-2. He'll stay there. But I say if there's a toe stubbing by about week 9 or 10, and the Pittsburgh offense is only moving like this, God bless Justin Fields. I still think he's a year away from becoming a complete quarterback. But I'm thinking that the change for the offense might be the thing that they need. I'm no Russell Wilson fan, by the way.
Yeah.
But I still think he's got a little bit of guile. And not only that, he won't turn over the ball.
Fair enough.
He might take a few more sacks.
But, yeah. That's an issue.
Okay, he might take a few more sacks, but we'll have to wait and see.
But, I mean, shout out to the Steelers defense. TJ Watt, maybe better than Big Brother.
That I don't know about that. And JJ, I see him on TV all the time. He's not ready to acquiesce to that.
Oh, of course not.
Okay, but TJ's had a couple of more injuries. Maybe he's had a couple. I can't say that he'd have higher highs than his brother. But remember, TJ Watt's only been Defensive Player of the Year once, right? His brother was 3 times.
I think he's going to win it again this year. They called it at the beginning of the season.
Okay, well, that's not a bad thing to call. He's playing great. But here's the other thing about it, is that you wear down the Pittsburgh defense by the end of the game sometimes too, because what happens is you leave them out there too often because you're not generating a lot of offense.
Yeah.
That's going to hurt you in the long run. I don't care how great TJ Watt is. Every defensive player says the thing you do is you smother the other team and keep your offense on the field a little bit longer so you don't have to make as many plays. That's the name of the game. Pretty simple. You know what I mean? So that could hurt Pittsburgh too. But TJ Watt, top 10 in the league, all-around player. Like, you know what I mean? He's easily in the top 10. You name, if you want to start number 10, TJ Watt. Well, there'll be a lot of people be talking about all the offensive guys, but people forget about him and Fred Warner and a few other guys around the league that are just as valuable to your team as the guy on offense. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But that division, supposed to be so great that it is not. So
AFC North?
AFC North is not as great as we thought. And take it one step further.
Well, I called it where one of the teams would be dog water this year, the Cleveland Browns. So.
Okay, so let's right off that division. The only thing that's going to happen that seems to be there is Baltimore and Pittsburgh might sneak up because we're at the 5th thing we can start talking about this.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if Cincinnati finds their way back in playoff contention.
Which tells you the AFC East is a bunch of garbage. Okay, because first of all, Miami doesn't have a quarterback. They're cooked. Okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah, instead of the days of New England winning a weak division, now it's Buffalo that's going to win a weak division.
There you go. And Buffalo's got to tighten up their scheme. Like, they could have beat against Houston, but their backhand on their team is yet. Don't tell me anything about Josh Allen. Keep playing the way you are. He's spreading around ball good enough. They missed Shakir already. He played one game. They missed Shakir. There's a difference in the game.
Well, and they're missing, what's his name, too, on defense?
Oliver.
No.
Von Miller?
Von Miller, yeah.
No, Oliver was more, he missed last game too, and he's more the guy on the line.
But Von Miller, let's not forget how well he was playing to start the season.
He was playing best in a few years.
His best ball in Buffalo.
Okay, yeah. 100%, I'll go there. So I'm just saying that division's a write-off because what's going to be decided is on Monday Night Football.
So you're acquiescing that my pick for the Bills to win the division and your pick for the Jets was wrong.
It's looking that way. We're going to have to see because what went on with the New York Jets? It's all going to be decided. The Jets are 2-3.
Yeah.
If they lose Monday night at home against the Bills on national TV.
Let's not bury the lead, but they lost to the Vikings in London 23-17. It was a sloppy, rainy game. Then right after they fired their coach Saleh.
There you go. So everybody's talking about dissension in the house and how much juice Aaron Rodgers has, who's probably the most polarizing figure in the NFL, if not North American sports. However, if you take the opportunity to listen to him on the Pat McAfee show, which I tend to do, there was a lot of things that Aaron Rodgers was saying from a humanitarian point of view that I had to respect in regards to Robert Saleh, because the man just lost his job. And stuff like that. And one of the things that really touched me about him is that some of the things that you've seen were blown up by the press. And Aaron Rodgers was saying stuff like, I wish I had as much juice as the press seems to think that I have. But one of the things that touched me is he's saying, like, look what's going to happen now. He goes, I've gotten to know Saleh's kids pretty damn good. And he's got a little throwing session he's got to go to the school with. And he says, I'm still going. But he says, what's the response going to be when I get there now that this kid's dad's been fired? I mean, how, like, people don't look at that part of the equation when you're talking about people coming in and out, because you only see what's in front of you right now, your point spread, your fantasy football team, what are the standings, and who's playing in prime time. All that other stuff doesn't matter. So I thought it was really, really good to hear Aaron Rodgers look at it from that point of view. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that doesn't get away from the fact that they got a guy named Haason Reddick, who they really need on their defense. Now, the Jets' defense is still top 5, top 6. That's a good tier defense. So, as Aaron Rodgers said, he's got to play better not to waste that defense.
He's looking old out there.
What's that?
He's looking old.
The other game he didn't look
looking
to, yeah, he's starting to look there. But the bottom line is the game we're going to see under the lights on Monday night.
Against Buffalo.
Against Buffalo.
But in New Jersey.
But in New Jersey, yeah. But the bottom line is he's still got the zip on the ball. You know what I mean? I think he's had a rough go. It's only been 5 games since the Achilles. I'm just saying if they lose on Monday night, then could we stop talking about the New York Jets?
Oh, we give everyone their due at the house that happens.
Okay, so
we'll talk about them less.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So that's how if you're getting. I'm trying. I got a little train of thought here. This is what I'm trying to do. So I've just pushed aside the AFC North with only Baltimore, Pittsburgh, AFC East. Don't waste your time unless you're talking about Buffalo. Now we got to go to the AFC South. We've only got Houston to talk about, because what are the rest of those teams doing? Indy, Tennessee, Jacksonville.
I'm not counting Indy out of it yet.
Oh, I think it's got to be done. We'll score when we get.
I'll get, like, their defense is not looking as strong as we thought it would.
No, but they're bending and not breaking at times. But look at who have they played. They played shit teams. They played mostly shit teams, and their offense.
But Joe Flacco's still got it, and I got made fun of for saying that on the preview show.
Okay, but I'm going to tell you this: like the pass rush might get at him this week. We're going to have to wait and see. Like, I'm not saying nothing against the Colts, but I'm just saying, do you really think the Colts are making the playoffs? No, I'm thinking none of those teams are. The only one that's
if we're going to give Pittsburgh a chance, I think we got to give Indianapolis a chance.
If Anthony, you say any quarterback, and they're going to be fine. Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
I'd rather have Flacco than Anthony Richardson, to be fair.
You're going to give him, he's got more to learn. So we're going to say, because I'm trying to get to the 5-0 Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Okay, so that division is only having Houston, I think, coming out of it. So when you go to the...
Don't count out the Colts.
Okay, well, I'm glad you say that. Now if we go to the AFC West, this may be, in a weird way, the strongest division in the whole AFC.
I never would have thought that coming into the season. But yeah, Kansas City, obviously 5-0. That record speaks for itself, whether you think it's a fraudulent 5-0 or not.
No.
Denver, after a weak start, all of a sudden 3 wins in a row. They're not looking so bad, especially their defense. Way better than we thought.
Way better. That's their calling card right now. And Bo Nix didn't look that bad. And he's got Sean Payton as his quarterback whisperer. You know what I mean? They're not going to be a slouch that I thought they were going to be for the season.
No.
They're one of the teams I'm going, whoa. You know what I mean?
And then we got the Chargers, their defense is much better than we thought it was going to be. I don't think we thought Harbaugh was going to turn them around that quickly. They got a run game. The receivers need some work, but...
Maybe they should go get Devontae Adams, which would never happen, because I heard the word around the campfire in Raiderland is, we'll trade him anywhere, but not to the division.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Exactly, which gets us back to the 4th team in that division is the Raiders, who I think they're going to come in last. I mean,
when your choices are Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell as your quarterback, that's a bad place to start there.
There you go. So they could end up on the bottom, especially if you look at the standings the way they are now. We're going to see who they're going to play. But so my point being is now, I was never a believer that a team could go to the Super Bowl, win 3 Super Bowls in a row. The way that the Ducks are lining up right now, we just went through that whole conference now and just wiped out a whole bunch of shit. Buffalo's got to tighten up their scheme, and the only feasible challenger I see is the Baltimore Ravens. unless some other team cleans up their act. But I know
Not your Lions?
No, we never got to the NFC. That's what I'm saying. So if we switch over to the NFC now, I think the dogfight gets a little bit more interesting. You know what I mean?
How so?
First of all, you got in the NFC, if we're going to start with the NFC East, that's going to be the Washington Commanders have suddenly raised their heads. So the Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboy boys, they got to tie up their shoes really tight because both of them were considered playoff teams going in. They both missed the playoffs last year. Sometimes, 6 teams that didn't make the playoffs last year didn't make it the following year. We got to start figuring out what are those 6 teams that are going to be falling out of the picture. With Washington being the way that they are, but I think they're going to learn a lesson this year. 4-1, what do they always say? Your record was what it says it is. That's 4-1. What's Dallas? 3-2.
3-2.
What's the Eagles? 2-2. So they're already behind the 8 ball. What they have the advantage of, they all got to play each other 2 times. They haven't played yet. But right now, Washington's the front runner. So there's going to be a dogfight in that division. So who knows who's going to come out of there, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the season, we were talking about how Dallas and Philly, like both their coaches were really on the hot seat this year, and I don't imagine the temperature's been turned down, put it that way.
Not at all, and it's going to be the games coming up, especially the division games. So my point is, if you look at it that way, NFC East is going to be way more than a dogfight than the AFC East. That's a gimme. There's a strong, just be saying the Washington Commanders are in first place. So then if you just happen to go to the NFC South, too bad about the New Orleans losing Derek Carr, but they've got a wild card in this kid called Spencer Rattler. Have you ever seen him play?
No.
He played for South Carolina. This guy's like a combination of Anthony Richardson.
So he's made of glass?
No, I wouldn't say it that way. I mean, his running style. He's a little bit like Jaden Williams. You never seen him play?
No.
He'll be all over the field. I
don't get a chance to watch much college, unfortunately.
Okay, anyways, he's going to be there, which is just saying New Orleans' record now is a bit fraudulent to me because what are they, 2-3?
2-3.
2-3.
After a 2-0 start.
2-0 starts. They're fraudulent, and they got this quarterback.
I never believed in New Orleans.
Okay, well, I thought they'd have a chance that they're going to get there. However, the division is now top-heavy because you can't step away from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they're looking for real, and they got some defense, and they got a defense coach. Okay, you know what I mean?
And Baker's looking really good.
Baker's looking solid. Now you got Atlanta, who seem to be figuring it out with primetime Kurt. They're not going away. What's their record? They're both
3-2.
They're both 3-2 on top of the division. So that team in the South.
But Atlanta has a minus point differential.
That's going to be changed. I know, because you know what? They won those 3 games late. What it is, very less than 10, isn't it?
-4.
Yeah, so it's so close on that. So my point being is the NFC South looks like they're going to be more of a dogfight than the AFC South. So now if we're going to go to the NFC West, it got really interesting out there due to the fact that my Rams are done. My boy Stafford, they're 1-4?
Yep, they're done.
Minus
45 point differential. That's rough.
Injuries out the wahoo. God bless Stafford. I'll see you next year. They're all going to be gone. However,
got to build up your defense.
Yeah, but no, they had injuries on there too. However, when you look at the rest of the division, you can't count out Arizona now because they're only
half a game out.
There you go. And then Seattle and San Fran are top of the division at 3-3.
But we know it's going to be San Fran winning the division. Come on.
Wait, you got to wait to see what's happening. We didn't know if they did any extra physical force on McCaffrey's thing in Germany, and he's not knows coming there going. And Seattle's had their moment. I mean, I think Seattle's the most fraudulent team after 3-0 start. Now they're 3-3. Because I told you Detroit would bitch slap them, and then they'd learn their lesson. So I think San Francisco should in the long run, especially the way they won on Thursday night. Mm-hmm. You know, the game we just seen on Thursday night, they look like the more dominant team. Even though Seattle came back, they're a scrappy team. They can score points. But once again, you got their
defense isn't that good, and like their O-line sucks.
Oh, yeah, they've got issues. So now we go to, which I predicted in the NFL preview, the toughest division in football may turn out to be the NFC North.
Yeah, I can't believe that all 4 teams in there right now are above 500.
There you go. And we all got to play each other. Yeah. The only thing, like Minnesota's only played, Minnesota and Green Bay play, but none of us have played anybody yet. So here it goes. So I'm going to stick my prediction. I think 2 teams can still come out of that division with Minnesota being 5-0 and Detroit with only one loss.
Well,
but Green Bay ain't going nowhere.
Why
And
can't all
Chicago,
three of these teams be wild card teams by the end of the season?
That could play itself out. But I'm saying
that's gonna be tough, especially when they start to play each other. But I mean, if Dallas and Philly continue to fall off.
Well, my point being with that whole big soliloquy is I say that when it gets to the end, when it gets to the funnel, when we get to say like week 12, I think that the AFC will be completely decided. We'll be able to see the differences because just by I went through the division, who's trash and who's not, I think the separation, except for the NFC West, will be a little bit tougher. But in the divisions in the NFC, including Detroit, whoo! There are going to be some battles, bro.
Be careful, because we thought this about baseball, and that didn't turn out to be the case. We're like, oh, man, the National League wildcard race is going to be crazy by the end of the year. But
I'm saying...
But by September 1st, we already knew
it blew up in our faces, that's for sure. But I'm taking it to the bank. I predicted that I thought that the NFC North could probably end up being the toughest division in football. All depends on how good Williams is, and because we already knew that Chicago would have some defense. So here we go, rock and roll. We're going to see what's going to happen.
And all four of those teams in the NFC North, all with point differentials above plus 20.
Which they say is a formula for making the playoffs at this time of the year. So
yeah, Chicago, I knew they'd be sneaky good. I didn't think they'd be that good, though. I mean, they're coming off a win against Carolina, so we'll see once they play a little bit some tougher opponents, but they're in a good spot.
So, as a disciple of the Detroit Lions, I'm not sitting here, sitting on our laurels. And if you haven't heard me, haven't blown my Lions through the ceiling. I haven't been saying a whole bunch of shit, even though I know that we are good. But there's a lot of football to be played, and we've got two of the toughest teams in the conference right in our own division, which we've got to play twice. Going to be some interesting football coming out of there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be interested to see, because it's traditionally that division, how this NFC East is going to play out. Like, where's Washington going to go? Because this week, I think that Washington's really going to get their comeuppance this week. I really do.
Against Baltimore?
Yes, I do. You know what I mean? Should be interesting.
Yeah, also, we should mention that Jacksonville did get their first win of the season versus the Colts this past weekend. And then, of course, Thursday night, that San Fran-Seattle game did not go the way we thought it would.
No
San Fran
kidding.
just up early and often.
I made a bit, and I was at San Fran until I got to the door, and I chickened out, and I took Seattle because I think of the home and the 12th man. 12th man stayed at home that night. That's all there was to it. It got really weird. A couple other notes besides this Spencer Rattler. I'm really interested to see, because we got a guy as a backup on Detroit that played for Tennessee, Henry Hooker.
You mentioned him.
They're the same style guys. I think they're like that pony you can't get into the thing to get the race, the thoroughbred. Some horses you can't get in there to get them to run. That's going to be interesting to see what happens playing in that New Orleans offense. Okay, so he's got some weapons. The other thing is there's two subjects that are really interesting, and it always ends up players not going to play. What do you think of this Hakeem Reddick situation with the Jets?
What about it?
He's not even going to play now.
Really?
He just took all the fines and bye-bye. He's not even going to get paid. He might sit the whole year.
Wow.
Isn't that insane? They could use him on
crazy.
the Jets. And, okay, what is the precedent for doing something like this, and how did it work out for him? I think his name is Bell. Le'Veon Bell tried this on Pittsburgh. How did that work out, buddy?
Yeah, it did not end well for him.
That's what I'm saying. So don't isn't that bizarre? You're gonna waste a year in the prime of your career not getting paid, and then you're like, all the football experts all say this, and all the players say this. Football is 365 days a year with OTs, camps, and all that stuff. If you take a 1 year off from that.
Yeah, these guys are creatures of habit. You're behind the eight ball.
And it's the physicality of the sport. You know what I mean? So you let your body take a pause.
Yeah, not good.
You might not be there. The other thing is, the most intriguing question in the NFL as we speak today is what?
Most intriguing question.
Where is Davante Adams going to end up?
Oh, well, there was that cryptic Edgar Allan Poe tweet he had last week, so everyone was immediately thinking Baltimore.
If he goes to Baltimore, it's over. 100% over. But here's the trick.
And there's of course, we mentioned the precedents for this, where Baltimore, the two times they won the Super Bowl, they traded for like that veteran receiver. Like it was 2000, it was Shannon Sharp, 2011, 2012, whenever the last time they won was, it was Anquan Boldin.
Anquan Boldin. So here we go. Now, I find what's most interesting about it is that they're saying that he has going to get some more numbers on it because he's got contract for big money next year and the year after. However, it's not guaranteed.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so they're going to have to work out that money, right? So I'm saying if he goes to Baltimore, and you were just saying that Baltimore could use a little bit better receivers, did you not?
Yeah. I'm not the biggest Zay Flowers fan.
I'm just saying it could be over. It would be insane if they got him there.
But the team with the cap space, we mentioned this before, it's Washington.
Okay, so is he ready to go to a team that's not ready to go? So what there's 6 teams that could potentially take him, and they're cap compliant. It depends on when you want to take him, because the deadline's not until week 8?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's making $13 million now, and it drops down a couple of weeks. So I'm saying that someone said, oh, he'll be traded by last Saturday. When you look at the capology all about it, it's going to say, no, it doesn't work like that. He'll only be an $8 million cap hit. Oh, by the way, what team will have double that money when it comes down to it? And perhaps maybe we could put somebody in our lineup. Don't count out the Detroit Lions, except for the fact that Hughes, who's a New England guy and comes from that tradition of not upsetting the apple cart in the middle of the season. But wouldn't he be a great fit on Detroit?
Sure.
Where else do you think he could go?
I mean, I've heard Dallas thrown around, but I think that'd be the complete wrong decision for them.
Well, Kansas City has got the money, and they're ready to do this kind of thing. I don't even have a shot at him.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because general managers already said my phone doesn't answer for 3 teams, basically, at the press conference. Because remember, and Pierce is being a dick about it, eh? The head coach. But then he is old school. Like, you see when you were talking about who's playing in the game, he didn't even mention Devontae's name. He just mentioned his number. Whoo! So is Davante Adams getting on the field again for the Los Angeles for the Vegas Raiders?
I doubt it.
I doubt it either, too. But and you know what? Here's the thing: this is the crazy stat about the guy. So what? He's 31. Do you know that since he's gone to Vegas, he's scored more touchdowns than any wide receiver in the league?
I had no idea.
I was shocked. He scored more touchdowns than any wide receiver in the league since he's gone to Vegas. And this is his 3rd season in Vegas, right?
Yeah, that's shocking.
2 years. Is it not? So tell me he doesn't have his skills. And who was throwing to him, by the way?
Yeah.
Because he
went there for Derek Carr, but then he was only there with him for 1 year, right?
Yeah, and all the shit hit the fan. Then that Aiden Connell guy came. What good was he? Then he had Gardner Minshew, who's now on the bench.
For Aiden O'Connell.
So what are you saying about the Raiders before going to the bottom? It's just an interesting side note of what's going to be going on in the season.
One funny thing I saw this weekend was that Johnny Manziel's laughing because he is no longer the worst quarterback decision that the Cleveland Browns have ever made.
Oh, zing. Okay, we should bring that up really quickly. What do you do with Deshaun?
Get him out of there. Just bite the bullet, man.
There's $150 million left on the table, bro.
That's the sunken cost fallacy. What? Just because you decide to spend a lot of money on him, you got to keep going with him? Nah, cut the cord.
Okay, so what are you going to do now? You got to hope he plays better. He's still only, 28, 27?
Yeah, but how long did he take off football? You talked about getting behind the 8 ball there.
How much?
He missed 2-3 years? 3, I think.
Better parts of 2.5.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know, but I'm saying $150 million, and he does have the tools. Like, he still can move. He can still throw.
Just putting it all together has been an issue.
Do you just think it is that all the on-field stuff is wrapped up, that his mind is never back into football because he just doesn't seem to have that urgency?
I don't even think it's about the off-field issues. I think it's just like the time off he took. Like
erosion?
Yeah.
Something's wrong.
That was crazy because I believe when he was his last full year with Houston, he was the number 1 fantasy player.
By far.
Yeah.
Well, not by far, but he was there.
He was the number 1 fantasy player.
And the famous thing about that was, right? J.J. Watt, at the end of the season, give him a hug, and I'm saying, I'm sorry that we wasted your season.
Wow.
That's how good Deshaun was. But, wow. It's and you know what? It's $156 million I think they owe him.
Yeah.
But it'll be after all capology comes into it, there'll still be $130 million or $120 million cap hit. That's worse than when Denver did with Russell Wilson.
No, this is the stupidest thing ever done by an NFL team. Cleveland Browns, go sit in the corner. You should be ashamed.
Do you think that this is the worst contract in the history of North American sports? What's worse?
Oh, man, the Rick DiPietro one was bad.
Oh, okay, but what? Okay,
because of the term.
Yeah, that's interesting. That Rick DiPietro, because I was trying to run one through my head that I went, oh, that wasn't very good. Scott Mitchell.
The Islanders had another one. The Yashin one was bad too.
Oh, the Yashin one was brutal. I'm thinking about that, but I'm still the money level wasn't even near the same.
Well, different leagues, right?
Right, but I'm saying I'm willing to believe that by the time I'm no longer exist, there will not be a contract that unless Deshaun comes back. That's the key. Who else they got
Color
to
me
go?
skeptical.
Then bring in Jameis Winston. Save your season. What's their record?
I lied. I want Deshaun. Give me
their...
Deshaun instead Jameis.
So Cleveland's 1-4 anyway, right?
Yeah, they're fucked.
Oh yeah, another team. Okay.
Ready to move on to our picks?
Mm-hmm. Let's go.
All right, it is.
Do we have to embarrass ourselves with our production last week? I actually had a better week than I've had previously. I lost some money because Seattle sunk me at home because they lost 2 in a row. I would have won like my $2 bets. I would have won about $300. No, what was it? Would have won $200 on 200 bets if Seattle covered.
Wow. Well, last week we were above 500 at least.
That's a good thing.
We were both 8 for 14.
That's better.
Including one of the games was a push. By the way, there's been like 4 pushes in 5 weeks already.
We're going to say this one more time at the House That Happens. We think we're pretty smart, but we're not as smart as Vegas.
No.
I'm going to tell you that. They're the Einstein of what's going on. Who's smarter, Vegas or Elon Musk?
I don't know. Elon Musk is a little bit of a weirdo sometimes, so.
He's an alien. How many times am I telling you? Go watch that movie, The Man Who Fell to Earth with David Bowie. He's the man who fell to Earth. That's what I say.
So this week we got Kansas City, the Rams, the Dolphins, and the Vikings on their bye weeks. So let's move on.
Who's on the Kansas City, right?
Yeah. Kansas City, the Vikings, the Dolphins, and the Rams.
Good week for, who did you just say? Kansas City. This is a good week for them to reboot because they might be bringing someone in off the practice roster because they just lost Rashid Rice and Andy Reid's re-scheming. So that gives them an extra week off. Bet Kansas City when they come back off the freaking bye.
Okay.
Alrighty.
So first up, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Chicago Bears. Bears favored by only a single point at home. I'm going to take the Bears.
You fail to tell the people that this is really not a home game. This game is in London. So technically it's a Jags game and the Jags are playing 2 in a row.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
So when you go to England, it's a Jags game. I don't give a shit what anyone says because what's his name? Amir Khan has got it set up for them to live like kings for that. Because Jags are playing back-to-back in London.
Yes, because they got New England the week after.
Yeah, so they're already there. They're eating grape leaves and all that other shit because the guy's taking care of them. But regardless of that, I think that Chicago's defense is way too good. I'm taking the Bears and the points.
All right. And I think they're only doing 3 London games this year, right?
One Germany, isn't it?
And then, there's Carolina and the Giants, I want to say. They're playing in Germany.
I think that the Jags are scheduled to play in London for the next 10 years or something crazy.
Yeah, because Jacksonville's not the greatest market.
No, but because of the owner. Isn't he the Harrods guy?
I don't know.
Anyways,
I'd have to do my research there.
E-Rich.
We have Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Tampa Bay favored by 3.5 on the road. I'm going to take New Orleans at home.
Oh, I think you're making a mistake. Even though I was talking about how much I like Spencer Rattler, rookie quarterbacks.
Division game at home?
I'm taking the rookie quarterback. Tampa Bay seemed to win on the road, didn't they?
It's true.
Okay.
Arizona at Green Bay. Green Bay is favored by 5.5 at home. I think this game is going to be a shootout. Give me Green Bay.
Green Bay and who again?
The Arizona.
In Green Bay?
Yeah.
I think the Green Bay is going to cover it too.
5.5, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to cover it.
Indianapolis at Tennessee. Tennessee is favored by 2.5 at home. I'm going to take the Titans.
You're finally going to take the Titans,
I'm going to take the Titans. Division game at home.
Well, you know what? I'm taking the Titans too.
All right.
And after all that Joe Flacco talk and all that, either way, and their defense may not be as good, you're still taking...
I'm going to take the Titans.
Oh.
Division game at home.
You're making me nervous. I'm not superstitious, and I know you're my accomplice, but now you're taking the Titans. I'm going,
Would it make you feel better if I switched my pick?
No, you got to do what you got to do.
Anyways,
I know, but I'm just saying that you took the Titans. I'm going, I felt a bad juju just swoop into the room and make me go,
even last year, I'm pretty sure I took the Sharks and the Blackhawks a couple times, for our hockey picks. So they're going to win sometime.
Okay, here we go.
Cleveland at the Eagles. Eagles favored by 9 points at home. Even though I just shit on Deshaun, I think that spread's way too big. Give me Cleveland.
A week off, all the dissension in Philadelphia. I think they're going to pull it together with their defense. I think Carter, the guy from Georgia on the front line, is going to have a crazy-ass game. I'm taking the Eagles.
Okay. Houston at New England. Houston's favored by 6.5 points on the road. I'm still taking Houston.
All day. And I'm going to tell you this, okay? I'm not Einstein, but it's a numbers game in sports, right?
Sure.
How many times during those weeks that we've had where the big spreads get covered? We haven't had one this year. I don't think we've had it any week, maybe one or two. But, there's 5 or 6 point plus spreads or 7 point spreads. None of them get covered. This could be the week we get some higher spreads. I'm going on.
Well, Kansas City covered a 5.5 on Sunday night last week.
Yeah, but most of anywhere around the 6 point or more, I think it's like 20% cover chance or something stupid.
Yeah, San Fran covered a 10-point spread against New England. How are the Jets favored by 8.5 that week? I still don't get that.
There you go.
Well, I picked the Denver because I thought that was a fraudulent.
But do you know what I'm saying now? Not many of those big spreads have been covered, so I think we're due for a week. We're in week 6, baby. Got to start leveling shit out. I think we're going to have a higher passing numbers this week than we usually had. It's going to start coming around slowly. It's the NFL.
Yeah, let me just hold on. I'm just looking at week 1. Wow, so you're right.
Yeah, no, not many. Not many. I told you, I spend too much time looking at numbers. That's what it is. So I'm saying the balance is. That's what I'm going to do it. Like it happened a couple times last year where I did a switch on something stupid like that because, I'm Mr. Analytics.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm going to take the chance of you look at the odds, and I'm going to say that people got to start covering them once in a while. The percentage is going to go up over the course of the year. When does it start?
Sure.
So I'm going to take, what's that spread again?
6.5.
That's the Texans, right?
Yeah.
All day. Even though England, I think, is going to make it close with their defense, but they're going to be on the field too much and get wore down. Maybe Derek May's going to have a day. Remember, he's a rookie quarterback. Quarterbacks don't usually win.
Drake May. I'm a little bit scared that he's coming into this game, especially with that O-line. Moving on, Washington at Baltimore, two teams that are not too far away from each other. 6.5 point favorite is Baltimore at home. I'm going to take the Ravens.
I am too, because I just think that the Washington has played very well. They've played one winning team, I believe, correct? I'm not sure, but I think they've only played one winning team, maybe. The Ravens have played much tougher competition, and after the way that they worked in against Cincinnati this week, I'm starting to believe that this is the week that Washington, they're a young team, got to learn a lesson from the big boys. So
all right.
I'm taking the Ravens over Washington.
LA Chargers at the Denver Broncos. Chargers favored by 3 points on the road. I'm going to take Denver, the home dogs.
Well, I'm going to look at it this way. That's a good pick on your part, but something tells me that San Diego defense.
LA defense.
LA defense is going to play a little bit better. It's going to be a low-scoring game. In my opinion, this is one of those games that you might bet the under.
Good call. So you're going with Chargers?
Going with the Chargers.
Pittsburgh at the Las Vegas Raiders. Pittsburgh's favored by 3 points on the road, although I think this is going to be a de facto home game. I think there's going to be a lot of Steelers fans there. Give me the Steelers.
I'm going to take the Raiders to upset the apple cart to bring in the introduction of Mr. Russell Wilson.
Okay. Atlanta at Carolina. Atlanta's favored by 6 points on the road. I think Atlanta wins this game, but I think Carolina is going to cover.
Can't be hypocritical of myself. Didn't I just say it's going to be the week where they start having the big covers? Mm-hmm. So therefore, I'm going to be taking the Falcons over the Panthers.
All right. Detroit at Dallas. I know this is one you're looking forward to, Cruz. Detroit's favored by 3.5 on the road. Give me the Lions.
I hope they crush them. You know what I mean? I hope they crush them. I hope Brady has to say good things about the Lions on national TV. And by the way, Brady's getting better. He's got loose. I think he was just a little too stiff, a little too nervous. But last week, I think, was his best week. He was loose.
Yep.
He sounded like Brady.
Our Sunday nighter, I can't believe they got a stinker like this Sunday night. Cincinnati at the Giants. Cincinnati's favored by 3.5 on the road. Give me the Bengals.
I hate taking this, but I'm taking the Bengals too.
Yeah, me too.
I'm holding my nose as I'm making this pick, okay?
And last but not least, Monday Night Football. Buffalo at the New York Football Jets. Buffalo's favored by 2.5 on the road. I know all I said about division games, but the Jets stink. Give me the Bills.
After all we just said about everything going wrong with the fired coach, but there's always an uptick.
I don't think they're good enough.
I just think, I don't know. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come out to throw because he's going to pick on the back end of Buffalo. They've got some secondary issues. And of all of our plays, that makes a huge difference because what they've been doing is their front seven is what's saving them. Their back end's a little small. They're speedy. They can cover. but, and you know what we say about but, should be an interesting week anyway.
So you're taking the Jets?
No, I'm taking Bills.
Oh, okay. After all that talking up of the Jets.
Well, I think that it's going to be a little bit more scoring than people realize.
Okay.
Like a 32, 24 game or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, primetime game, like especially the Mondays and the Thursdays, like
they
things
seem
get
to be
low
going
kooky.
up,
Yeah.
And usually the Thursdays don't because they say it's a short week. But there's been some firehouse great games on Thursday night.
It was like that last year, too.
It was a little better game.
I don't know,
on Thursday?
Amazon's like putting something in the water or something. I don't know.
Something in the air. Maybe it's those alternate uniforms.
Maybe. I think that's it for our football segment.
If anybody out there is doing outstanding in their picks this year and winning any kind of money,
You're lying.
It's been just crazy this football season, but I've been enjoying it. I can't wait till tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Not 4:30 in the afternoon, the Lions and the Cowboys. Ooh.
America's Game of the Week.
There you go.
We'll move this on to the MLB postseason where, Cruz, you owe the New York Mets and Grimace an apology.
I'm not going to apologize, but I'm going to say...
You said there was no chance.
No, I didn't think so either, but there's some kind of mojo going on there that I'm just going, wow. But number one, I'm just going to say this. Well, at a certain point in my life, I was probably saying that baseball is my favorite game to watch. And I said before the playoffs started, everybody pay attention. This is the time of the year. If you like baseball, you should be watching these games.
Yeah.
And these baseball playoffs have been insanely entertaining on all levels. Good, bad, even the ugly's been entertaining.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Which you know what I'm talking about, some guy named Machado. But
oh, man, I'm happy the Padres are out.
you know what I mean? But I'm saying the playoffs have been absolutely outrageous, leading with the New York Mets, who everyone you have to remember, they had a home run by Alonso in the ninth inning just to get them where they are at. And they went in and beat Philadelphia twice in their house. And once in their house, and then they came back. But with that pitching staff, which one of the things that's bugged me, I'll get to that in a second, is Lindor has proven he's just one of the best all-around players in baseball.
Yep.
Like, look at the two that are just below the level. Who performed better, Bobby Witt or Lindor?
Yeah.
I felt bad for Bobby Witt, but we'll get to him in a second. You can't deny there's some kind of mojo going on in New York, and now there's slowly the rumblings about the Subway series. It's starting to rumble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and one thing I find funny is LOL Mets is or LOL Phillies is trending up. People are just laughing at their choking.
Is this now are they considered a choke team? Are
mean,
they the Toronto Maple Leafs of baseball?
No, well, they're doing what they did in the late 2000s, basically, except they didn't win the World Series first before they trended backwards.
Exactly.
Because they lost the World Series last year, they lost in the Championship Series. This year, they lost in the divisional round. This is the same how they did in with those 2000s teams with like Cole Hamill and.
Exactly.
Oh my God, who was their first baseman? Howard.
Yeah. What's his name? Ryan Howard. Yeah.
Chase Utley, those guys.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard debate lately about is Ryan Howard's numbers is good to go in the Hall of Fame. I'm saying no, but his high seasons were amazing. Like he had a run of seasons.
He had a little bit of a reputation too of like getting those hits in games where the Phillies were already beating up on guys.
He had a big.
But when they needed that big hit in the game they were losing 2-1 to the Mets, he would disappear.
Well, you could almost say that about Aaron Judge, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Him in the playoffs is its own.
That's an entity unto itself. But the bottom line is, you got to give New York Mets all the credit in the world. Number one is they have some modicum of starters. As a traditionalist, I get sick. Even my beloved Detroit Tigers, like I don't like the fact you're starting with your starter. Then the next time your closer's starting, and then your middle relief man is your closer.
Oh, game 4 against Cleveland, they fucked up taking their starter out that early.
Who's that?
Detroit. They took Olsen out.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying.
He was playing well. 1 earned run, 4 innings pitched. I believe his pitch count was 74.
That's what drives me nuts. Let him get to 90 at least. But that's A.J. Hinch pulling strings, and the strings have been working so far, but he pulled one too many, which gets us back to, one series at a time. I want to really congratulate the New York Mets because I thought going into the playoffs, on paper and the way they played with their starters, home field advantage, that Philadelphia, this was the year they're going to go to the World Series. Obviously, I was wrong. So I'm going to put like a little period on the sentence of these guys. You're chokers.
Yeah.
You're chokers. You know what I mean?
Although I will say, like, if you want one guy, if you want one guy that can like get you a hit at any time, you might Bryce Harper.
Oh, yeah, and Nick Castellanos.
Castellanos.
Yeah, he's another guy. They had something there, but New York and the games were tight. That's what I like about all the games are tight. There was some great situations. There was some great defense. And everyone's talking about these bullpens, but a lot of times these bullpens came through.
Absolutely.
We're going to say, which leads us to the other National League series, which was somehow that should have been a 7-game series, unfortunately. But I was leaning on the Padres before it, and I was pumping their tires pretty damn good. However,
they look like the team of destiny. I read off all those stats about like, oh, there's only been like so many teams to do this, this, and this. They're the only team to do that on one season. Plus, like the way how they just came like crashing through after the trade deadline. It was like, okay, this might finally be their year.
Not only that, their winning record against the Dodgers, so they weren't intimidated. However, something goes on a team, and maybe this is that some mojo bit them in the ass.
Well, we talked about in our pre-show meeting how playing Dylan Cease off short rest, that was
biggest
a dumb decision.
mistake ever. It's only worked out if you're Madison Baumgartner. So the guy hadn't pitched on 3 days rest in his life. How long did he last? 1 1/3, 1 2/3. Yeah, so they
got roughed up.
That blew the series right there. And we have to commend the fact that last night was a brilliant game with Yamamoto against Darvish. First time.
Classic pitcher's duel.
Classic. That's what I love. Not only that, I did not know it was the first time in a deciding closeout game. It was 2 Japanese starters.
That's cool.
Very cool because it is a world game. Everybody, it was scrappy. You know what I mean? And I want a big shout out to a guy that we love here a lot at the House That Happens. He may strike out a lot, but Teoscar Hernandez is not afraid of the big moment.
No, absolutely not.
You know what I mean? So far, so good with Teoscar. Came up with the big hit. Mookie Betts came back.
Big home run.
Huge home run. Huge home run. That was basically what put it away. But that was a game that had tension from first inning to 9 innings to the 9th inning. The Dodger Stadium, which they're calling it its own little cult of personality, showbiz, whatever. Everybody and their brother was at the game. Mm-hmm. The atmosphere was totally electric, and everybody wanted to piss in frickin' Padres soup because the attitudes that's perpetrated by guys like Machado.
Yeah, I mean, and I also want to say as well, the Padres got 2 hit last night. Insane.
Then but they lost it in Game 4 to me. That's when I said...
Yeah, well, I said it in the meeting, I was like, that was a desperate move that didn't need to happen.
No, they could have saved him for one more day and used him for Game 5 in case things didn't work out. But I'm talking about when Machado was throwing the ball in them and they won 8-0, and they all whipped out their dicks and we're the shit and blah, 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 blah.
No, throwing the ball in the other team's dugout, that's such a Bush League move. You're
false machoism, man. Fuck you. I'm not...
Yeah, it's cowardice.
There you go. So my take on the matter is this. You got what's coming to you. I didn't feel bad for Machado at the end of the game. Tatis, nope. He's a hell of a playoff performer. I thought Merrill, I thought he struggled a bit. I thought the pitching...
It's his first playoffs.
Yeah, I thought some of the other guys like Muncy and that seemed to get their hit when they needed them. That Ingram guy at the end of the line, remember Edman? He had some big hits because he was on base when some shit happened to make it. So I think that the Dodgers figured out something along the way to tighten it up. But I'm still thinking that maybe New York and their starters, they've got 3 starters coming. Okay? Yeah. What is the Dodgers going to do? Mix and match again?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It looks like a mix and match show in the history of baseball.
But we've said this. I mean, you've alluded to it earlier in the season where it's offense that's kind of underrated right now in baseball. The Dodgers are one of the few teams that has that constant offense. And let's not underrate how big the home run is for you in the playoffs, especially in the playoffs.
Well, it's been working out that way. And just
mind you, the Mets have a little bit of that too.
Well, they got a little moxie going their way that when you think about it. But the bottom line is the Dodgers really won. And they didn't get any massive contributions from their top 3.
No.
Betts hit a big home run at the right time.
Ohtani had some Ohtani has moments.
He had the one big shot. Okay, but if you look at Ohtani's numbers, what did he hit? 240 in the thing? Whatever. I mean, they pitched around him. They pitched him funny. That one reliever's got his number.
Yep.
It's got him out 8 times in a row or something like that. But the top 3 didn't get necessarily all the production they were expecting, but the rest of the lineup is strong enough, like you say, with Teoscar step it up and stuff like that, that I don't know. I'm leaning towards the Mets and Grimace in the in this series. Just because of the
Well,
starting
we'll
pitcher.
do predictions. We'll save that for the end.
Okay.
Let's finish up with the American League Division Series. So New York took the series against Kansas City 3-1. As I called, I didn't call which game Kansas City would win correctly, but not really a surprise. Kansas City still kind of getting their feet up from under them.
After a 100-loss season and coming this close, I just thought they looked
Great turnaround season for Kansas City.
huge, and all the games were tight. Another thing, so like there was only like, when you think about it, there was no blowout games. You got to give a shout out to, and I don't like the guy, but Jarrett Cole is a big-time playoff pitcher.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Going back to Houston, who did he play with before one year when he was
Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh, yeah. Like he was, he's a big game performer. Like he pitched 7 innings yesterday.
Yep.
And then he gave up that run, and he was a bulldog the whole time through. And who are the Yankees going to start? And they didn't even use Gill. They didn't even have Gill. So the Yankees,
I imagine he's probably going to get the game 1 start.
but I don't know why he didn't pitch it all in the other series. Can't figure that out. In any event, the Yankees are poised, to face the winner of the Guardians and my beloved Detroit Tigers.
So, yeah, this one, I called it as a 5-game series. I said Detroit would take it. Lo and behold, game 5 tonight, this afternoon, actually, 1:08 p.m. So This actually should be getting started any second now.
That's good. So we're going to be getting out of here really quick. The key to this is that someone said the atmosphere of all the ballparks that were left, Comerica Park was one of the worst. Who judges this?
I don't know. That's so subjective.
Well, they start with Chavez Ravine because it's Chavez Ravine. I get it. But did you see the crowds in Detroit?
Looked like they were rocking.
That's what I'm saying. So what? No atmosphere in Detroit? I know the Motown. There's a lot of moxie going in that town right now. The great Michael Wilbon says right now, and it's been hidden for years, but he said the real home field advantage is in Ford Field because he says Detroit's been a fanatic sports city for a long time. It's just that they've spent so much time with losers on that level that they've never had to get a chance to expose who they are. But when Detroit's winning, man.
Well, yeah, with like Red Wings, Pistons, we've seen it. Those two, and when the Tigers had their run with Verlander and Scherzer.
Oh, place was crazy. So that's what I'm wondering. Who decides this? Like what analytic, what metric? Shut up. Detroit City, I love you. That's all I got to say. Who do you think's going to win the 5th game?
I called Detroit to win it in 5. I'm going to stick to it.
Got to. And you know what's really good about Detroit?
We've got Scooble pitching. Come on.
Oh, that's what I'm hoping. But you know what? I'm scared because you get all these runs and then you stub your toe in a game. Like he's on a hell of a run. You know what I mean? But if he gives us 7, like you said, I think that we rested enough guys in the bullpen yesterday because Buddy did go 5 innings for Detroit. He should have went more. He should have went 6. That's what I was hoping for, but he didn't. But I like that Holton guy, that Brisky guy, the others, they're all good. And that kid that they just called up, the prospect, the number 1 prospect, that Job guy, Detroit could pull this off. I'm a little bit worried when they get into the next series because who's going to be starting against who if they do play the Yankees? And Cleveland does have a couple of front-end starters like Boyd and Quintana, so could be interesting.
I imagine Scooble wouldn't get into that one, and he wouldn't start game 1. Maybe game 2?
No, because today's Saturday, so the first game is on Monday. So it'll be Monday, Tuesday, when he wouldn't get to start till game 3, and he wouldn't get to start till his game 3 or game 6 and game 7. But that's just the follies of baseball. And I would hate to see, like we just seen in San Diego, they rush him up one game and he gets banged, and we go, what happened to the guy?
Well, if you put him in game 3, he would probably be the game 7 starter then.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so it's going to get that far. Anyways, the buzz in baseball is the Yankees, Mets, World Series.
Potentially.
It's all potential. You know what I mean?
So you want to get to our picks?
Sure.
All right. So obviously we'll start with the National League since that one's set. Mets Dodgers set for tomorrow night at 8:15 p.m. game 1. No starters been announced just yet. I think the Mets are going to win this.
Let's go. The house that happens backs Grimace, man. We're cartoon character people here.
I'm calling it. If the Mets go to the World Series, win or lose the World Series, Grimace is going to the Hall of Fame.
He's going to get some recognition of some
There's going to be something Grimace going to the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying he's going to get a plaque, although he maybe should. Well, we're going to start a GoFundMe or a petition for that. But
go Grimace. We're all in the bandwagon, and I'm liking Lindor. Of all the players, a lot of great players in the playoffs so far. There's something about Lindor I've really liked.
I've always liked Lindor.
His defense isn't great. He's got the key hit. He's in the right place in the lineup. Go Mets.
I'm going to take the Mets in 6 games.
I think it might go the max.
Ooh.
I think it's
Mets in 7?
Yeah, I think it might go the Mets in 7. Yeah.
And then for the other series, sorry, Cruz, even if your Tigers win, I think whoever wins Game 5 today, I think they're losing to the Yankees. I think it's going to be the end of the road for both those teams.
Well, I'm expecting Detroit to win today, and I expect them to beat the Yankees, and I'm expecting them to beat whoever they see in the World Series. Go Tigers! Roar!
So what are you saying? Tigers in what for the championship
7.
series? Just Tigers in 7?
Yeah.
I think the Yankees might make quick work.
I don't know. Who's going to
it
be
is.
start? They got Jared Cole and Buddy. The rest of the time, they're doing it the same way by proxy as Detroit. So whose proxy is going to be better? The advantage is that the Yankees are a better hitting team.
Yeah, much
at the
better
top
hitting.
of the lineup there. So it's a matter of can Detroit's pitching hold up? It seems to be. They're on a roll.
I'm going to say Yankees in 5.
Okay.
And you're going to say, what, Detroit in
7.
7? All right.
Okay.
So that will do it for our baseball conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And that means it's time for one of my favorite segments here, Trivia, brought to you by Stephen Milani.
Thank you, Stephen. We still miss you. We'll be seeing you back soon. Great show the other day. Love the trivia.
Absolutely. So today's question is, Macklin Celebrini scored his first NHL goal in his first NHL game this past Thursday, making him the 6th youngest player to do so at 18 years old in 119 days. Who was the youngest player
Mario Lemieux
to score in his NHL debut? Bonus if you can guess how old he was.
Mario Lemieux, 18 years, 2 months, whatever.
You think it was Lemieux?
I think it's Lemieux. Who else would it be?
Trying to think.
Connor McDavid was pretty quick.
I don't think he scored in his debut, though, did he?
I think he did. Crosby scored in his debut, too.
It might be McDavid then, because he has a January birthday.
Oh, right. Okay.
Or no, it would be youngest, so maybe that would, no. So that would be the opposite.
Yeah.
Did Crosby score in his debut?
I think that he did, too. But there's someone back in the day that... Oh, Austin Matthews.
No, he would have, but he was a late draft guy, so he wouldn't have been the youngest.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because he was already like almost 19 by the time he came into the league.
Okay. Let's see who it
Lemieux's
is.
a good guess, though, but I'm going to say, for the sake of being different, I don't know, Marian Gaborik. Wow, Alex Barkov.
Whoa, that was just recently.
Yeah.
How old? 18 months? What? 18 years and so many months?
18 years, 31 days.
Wow.
So 18 years and 1 month.
Wow. Interesting thing to look at.
Sasha Barkov, not what I expected.
No.
By the way, he is out for 2 to 3 weeks, Florida's announcing.
Oh, boo. He looked good the first couple games.
Yeah, because I know he went down awkwardly the last game, but but there's reports he didn't leave in a walking boot. He was out on his own power, so doesn't look like he's going to be out for too long. So
He was looking good.
And now it's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everyone in the world's favorite segment. It's a segment we haven't done in a long time. It's the Gospel According to Cruz.
Thank you. Well, the 2024 football season is well underway. The NHL's just got their season started, and the NBA has just been opening their camp. As an old man who has invested a lot of my last 50-plus years indulging in all manners of professional and college sports, it's been interesting, to say the least, to see how rule changes have affected the evolution of the games we spend so much time enjoying. This year, like the start of many seasons before this, the leagues come up with new rules or adjustments to rules for the sole purpose of improving the quality of competition and putting a better product into the field of play. With the application of said new rules, there is also the fact that the officials find themselves calling the games a little bit differently in order to justify the mandate put forth by the league's governing bodies, who believe they are implementing these new rules for the benefits of the players and the fans. As an early old man with old school belief, I often question the validity of some of these rules, which are often shaped to satisfy the changes in our society. Remember, people, 50 years ago, there was no internet, no Instagram, no TikTok, or technologies we see today that affect the perception, the progress, or the result of the games. First of all, the new rules mean the officials or the referees take a strict adherence to these new rules in order for the players to know they have command of said game. Of course, in the beginning, some of the results are dubious at best. Take the start of this new NFL season. The big change has been obvious is the calling of illegal formations by the offensive line. The numbers have already shown that the number of flags thrown this season have almost reached critical mass. I understand the lack of preseason game reps and the September always being the preseason as well, but we're already into week 6 and I'm not really seeing a move in which way they're going. So the amount of laundry on the field is obvious. How many big plays have you seen called back by motion penalties? I believe the new kickoff rule is becoming a farce, and I hope the player safety aspect of this rule justify its continuation. NHL is also implementing some new rules which will inevitably lead to a parade to the penalty box. Initially, it will have effect on the flow of the game, and don't get me started on the adjustment rules in the NBA. Remember, the intent of most of these rules is for player safety, which I respect. The other intent is always to increase offense, which supposedly brings more excitement to the game and entices more of this impatient world to watch. However, what happens when the rules do not have the desired effect? What if your eye test reveals the obvious mistake witnessed? Well, I believe the replay assist adopted in the NFL this season is a solid start, but I'm not so sure the use of the challenges is properly adjudicated. Damn, the NBA have a 2-minute report where they tell you where the refs did wrong. This is ludicrous at times because when you fail on a call and it affects the score of the game, gamblers like myself must lose their minds. And yes, gambling, now legal in pro sports when you can bet on anything. Not like 40 years ago when you placed your parlay on the back of a coffee truck. Now this is where I get to call bullshit. First, the gambling angle has changed everything, and Vegas is the Einstein of all things sports betting. First, the new rules in the beginning usually results in lower scores, so the percentages of unders in games goes up. Vegas knows that. Referees in all sports have their own nuances when calling games, and Vegas knows that. However, what really irks me is how the games are called according to the progression of the season. Why is a penalty or a flag or a foul from the first month of the season suddenly null and void in the last month of the season? Is there a man behind the curtain? I believe there is so much money bet on games by the time they get to the playoffs that subjective flags or niche penalties suddenly disappear. I wonder, does the name on the back of a jersey alter a call? My point is some of these rule changes have good intentions, but as my mother taught me, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. By the time the deep playoff runs are happening, the new rules seem to disappear. A penalty or foul in the first month of the season is obsolete in Game 7 or a conference championship. I'm still fuming over a pass interference call in the Lions playoffs games ago where clearly the eye test witnessed a Lions receiver getting a pass interference play, but the flag was thrown and picked up by the officials and the call nullified. Was this because it was America's team being affected? Maybe too much money on the Lions. As much as I love sports, I still question whether or not I'm watching a charade. Where is the consistency from Game 1 to the championship final? If the league says it is a penalty, call it in Game 1 and in the championship game. If you think I'm talking out of my ass, I'll point out the obvious. If rules were rules, the Florida Panthers would not have won the cup looking like the 1975 Broad Street Bullies. So remember, all you leagues, when you change the rules and tell me your stories, I'm going to just remember the immortal words of Pete Townsend. We won't get fooled again.
And that's the gospel according to Cruz.
Thank you.
Any plans for the weekend or the rest of the weekend?
No, I think I'm getting together with my son and his girlfriend, Karen, which is the first time we're really going to have a family thing when we get together. He's going to her place tonight, so it's going to be, we're not going to do anything spectacular. We're probably going to order out something because we don't have it organized enough to do the old school, which we used to do for years. Massive turkeys and at the Cruz house were insane, but we're going to go a little low this year, a little low-key this year. What about at your house?
Nothing wrong with that. I will be visiting my sisters on Monday. Dad's making pulled pork.
Great.
Her father-in-law is making big turkey, so plenty of food. Radic is going to meet the folks for the first time, too.
Oh, really? That's a good time to be doing it. It's called the Thanksgiving Day Get Down.
Yep.
Radic, I hope you enjoyed the movie as much as your boy did.
Oh, she loved it.
That's good.
Yeah. We both agreed that we didn't get the hate.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Positivity runs the world. In any event, here at the House That Happens, we want to wish everybody a very, very safe, happy, enjoyable, family-oriented, and all your friends, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, enjoy the turkey, enjoy your day. Enjoy the day off.
Yes.
First and foremost.
Last big, long weekend of the year. Like I care, I'm retired. It's funny to be in this position. Anything else you'd like to say?
That's just about it.
Oh, thank you very much. And as well, how we get out of here?
My name is Andrew Milani.
My name is Cruz.
What do?
We keep the vibe alive.
You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.